US dollars by 2030. In fact, I'm not the expert of digital government, but I worked in Denmark, a Danish IT company who is specialized for the digital government solutions for local government and national government. So I stationed there since 2019 to 2023, if I remember well. So I am going to talk about that experience, especially at that time I made observation of Japanese digital government progress objectively, and it was not so successful like Denmark. And I hope that my observation will support the future development of Uzbekistan digital government. So, I
can help if you wish.
Yes, so next page, please. Yes, so this is a history of digital government strategy of both nations, Denmark and Japan. So both nations started the strategy of digitalization of public services since 2001, almost at the same time. And it looks like the both strategy very similar, but the result was significantly different. Last year, according to the UN digital government survey, Denmark was ranked #1 globally. Japan was ranked 13, although in the past 25 years, Japan tried to become world #1, but always failed. So why such a huge difference? So next page, please. Yes, so this is my findings of 5 fundamental problems in the past. So this is just my personal observation. It is nothing to do with the official view of the Japanese government. So, so there are 5 problems in the past, and maybe still is. So it's all about national history, culture, and human being, and legislation. So let's take a look at one by one. So first issue was no unique national ID. So Japan, Supreme Court decided unique ID is prohibited. So they decided to introduce a sectoral ID system. So as a consequence, the citizens must use different, portal, different ID, different password to use digital public services. So eventually, it couldn't become very popular because it's not so easy to use. While Denmark, they had a unique ID system since 1968. So they have a very good management system for the personal ID system. Then, on this point, my recommendation to Uzbekistan is, so Uzbekistan already have unique digital ID with facial recognition. So recommendation is to make sure this Uzbekistan personal unique ID to be fully connected with all sectors' data to enhance usability and effectiveness. Nowadays, Japan finally introduced unique digital national ID, not only digital, unique national ID and unique digital national ID, both. And during COVID-19 time, finally, it is now boosting up. So second issue is no single responsible ministry for digitalization of public services. In Denmark, they had a single responsible ministry. They assigned Ministry of Finance because Ministry of Finance has a capability to allocate budget, so they can cut the budget to the ministries who is not cooperative to digitalization. So they are pretty much powerful and promote strongly the digitalization. While in Japan, each ministry have different view, different ideas to digitalization. So Ministry of ICT, Ministry of Economy, Cabinet of Ministry, each organization moves differently. So they keep the, let's say, the silo organization and not whole of government concept was adopted. So eventually the progress was pretty much slow in Japan. Now, in Uzbekistan, Ministry of Digital Technologies are assigned as a single responsible ministry. So my proposal to Uzbekistan is to make sure all the ministries and agencies to cooperate with Ministry of Digital Technologies, as a concept of whole of government, including agreement of financial sources for digital project in Uzbekistan government. So third issue was no unified infrastructure in regional and local government. That's the same page. That was yes. That one is yes. So last page. So thing is that excuse me. Yes. So Japanese constitution defines how to say each local government, municipalities, regional government has a autonomy. So they are independent from any order from the national government. So this is a different situation with Uzbekistan. But because of that, and also the Japan oriented at that time, very, how to say, free competition like United States. So each municipality has its own IT system, tendering and beating IT vendors, cheaper price, innovative idea, innovative solution, and customized best to my own workflow or something. So eventually, no standardization has been done, and no, how to say, effective, co-working among the municipalities or municipalities to regional government to national government. They are so independent and not connected effectively. So that was the third point of the, let's say, failure of Japanese digital government. So now proposal to Uzbekistan, luckily, Digital Government Management Center is assigned as a single responsible for this purpose. So make sure the very consistent IT architecture with cooperation of the, let's say, all the stakeholders, national government, local government, regional government, citizens, and so on and so forth. So fourth point is legislation. So in case of Denmark, they have enforcement by legislation to use digital communication between government and citizens. So it was done since 2014, so more than 10 years ago. So as I was resident there, I was, forced to use digitally, even I wanted to use paper. So in Japan, there is no such legislation, so the government communication is done by both digital and analog. So this causes another inefficiency and double cost of the public services. So now, government has like a 10 years plan to be fully digitalized, but the move is not so fast. Now, Uzbekistan cases, it is quite advisable from my point of view. Ministry of Justice can take a lead to change existing law to digital age. So I know it is a huge and complicated task, but it is nice to look for probable way with the context of Uzbekistan situation. So last issue which I am going to talk is democracy. So in comparison with Denmark, Denmark is a very matured democratic country since 1848. Japan was not so matured. People tend to think that citizens and the government are the different, side of the places. So we are not so consolidated, and so not so much participation from citizen side to digital government promotion. And also, government side thinks digital government is a means to reduce cost and reduce workforces. And so eventually it was not so cooperative each other. Denmark had a very, good shared vision among all the citizens. Digital government is to strengthen the nation by efficient digital technologies. Now, my proposal to Uzbekistan is that it is very important to have shared vision among citizens, public workers, high-level government officials. So why do we promote digital government? It is not because we want to become top 30 in a UN ranking, but it is because we want to develop Uzbekistan as a strong nation, a strong economy, a strong industry, and increase welfare and well-being of Uzbek citizens by digital technologies. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sakurai, because it was a very reflexive presentation. I think it's a great privilege that you were able to distill for us lessons learned from Japan, from Denmark, but also see how that implicate the potential, developments in Uzbekistan as well. Thank you so much. The next speaker is Mr. Jin Mok. He's an honorary professor at the Department of Public Administration, Kukmin University. So, but he's also teaching here in the University of Digital Technologies in Uzbekistan, and I was very pleased to hear that he has a lot of very active Uzbek students who are female and aspiring to make a career in digital government in future as well. And Professor Mok will talk about the national character and digital governance, lessons from Korea and opportunities for Uzbekistan. Thank you so much. Floor is yours. We would like to ask, thank you.
Well, I was introduced nicely, and I told her that the thing which I observed while I have been in Uzbekistan. I have seen many young female students in TUIT, which gave me strong impression that sooner or later, this country will become much, much greater. Your country is a great country, but it will be much greater sooner or later. When the equality exists, everything will become better in many ways. I was already introduced who I am, right? So I'll skip who I am. And I'm from Korea, and Kukmin University in Seoul, Korea. I used to teach public administration and public policy. So I'm not the technical person for one thing, but I can summarize the history of the Korean e-government policies or systems, and then the things that I have observed while I have been in Uzbekistan in terms of the bilateral or trilateral, whatever there may be, cooperation between and among nations, including Uzbekistan and Korea. So I'm going to spend less than 10 minutes. No, yeah, I'll try. Yeah. I mean, in school, I mean, if you teach long, I mean, nobody will like you, right? So the class always good. Good teachers always make class short. So I'm going to try to be good teachers, right? Okay. This pie chart. I like pizza, so I mean, I use the pie chart. And one thing I found also in Uzbekistan is you have really good pizzas. Yeah, I like pizza much. And this pie chart gives you 6 domains, 6 pieces. I mean, pizzas usually sliced by 8 pieces, right? So I made it 6 because I'm eating too many pieces. National trait, in terms of their importance in national digital transformation. The information we have here is from OECD. DGI, you know that, right? Digital Government Index. So the first one, apparently the important is openness to innovation, about 20% of the importance out of 100. All are pretty much self-explanatory, so I'm not going to explain to you what they are, right? Second importance is trust in institution, public or private or whatever, and it's about 18%. And then education orientation. I mean, how strongly you emphasize education, not only in digital perspective, but also all other art and science and philosophy or whatever. So that's about 17%. And then adaptability and flexibility category takes 15%. And I mean, if you resist doing something, I mean, there is no way you can do, right? I mean, no matter how good I, as a teacher, the student will not try to accept my authority as a teacher. Not going to happen, right? So that's adaptability and flexibility as such. And then future-oriented thinking, yeah, we need it, right? We need future-oriented thinking. It is ranked about number 5. And then the rest of 18% of importance is rest on the other categories, such as entrepreneurship, such as inclusion, such as resilience of the society and things like that. So at least in terms of the OECD arguments, the digital transformation would more likely done if these following national traits are there, okay? So let's move on to, and then I'm going to tell you the kind of the historical path of the Korea's digital transformation from, I broke it down in 4 categories, 4 stages: early bird, expansion, maturity, and digital inclusion or digital transformation as such. So let me go over one by one really quick. Early bird. The purpose of the early bird stage was automation of the administrative process. Make it more efficient way, right? Do it quick and do it less expensive and things like that. And the Economic Planning Board, which is no longer exists in Korea, took the major important role in the process, and then with presidential leadership, like President Park, you know that, Park Chung-hee, right? He had a very strong sense in a way that country will become better with the heavy industry, with the kind of software matters, right? E-government as such. So the one thing they did was set up the university level education institution like KIST or KAIST, which are both really good postgraduate schools in Korea. I mean, they are even well-known public schools globally as well. And also they initiated public and private cooperation with foreign entities like IBM, and then domestic ones like POSCO and things like that. So that was until 1980s and things. And the second stage, expansion, obvious, early bird, and then expansion is obvious, right? So well, during 1990s, well, again, setting up the society more informatized was the goal. And like setting up e-government, G2C, G4C, yeah, government to citizen, and things like that, right? And then governments provided subsidies to various sectors in the society to promote the environment of the use of the information technology as such. And then third stage, obviously maturity. Yeah. You expand it and then you mature, right? And then now the elements of the private entities, like the ICT conglomerate, Samsung, the phone company, right? I mean, they were brought into the process of e-government. And now the government set up the role of support rather than initiate. And government set up the strategies like IT A39 and so on and so on. And then now we are saying, well, digital transformation from 2010, and then I don't know what will be the next stage. But we are in the middle of 2020s, right? And still, the government entities take primary role in terms of continuing, in terms of maintaining sustainable progress in digital transformation. And interestingly enough, we are talking about green digital. We are talking about, again, the training programs, retraining, reskilling, or upskilling of existing skills or level of education as such to move, to leap up another stage. I don't know which that may be. Okay, so I'll give you several examples of e-government in Korea. In executive branch, we have the Government 24, pretty much like mygov.uz, right? And home tax, I pay tax. I mean, government is all really, really good to take money away from you, right? Yeah, tax. I mean, they are right after you all the time with information technology, right? Yeah. Oh, nowadays, I mean, more than 95% of all services are provided by this kind of electronic system as such. And yeah, that's good for the government. I'm not so sure for the citizen, but anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just kidding, okay. And then since we are, I mean, we do this business under the Ministry of Justice, so I included judicial branch. We have more than 90% of civil and family litigation is under so-called e-government system. Yeah, more than 90%, not the criminal ones yet. Criminal ones may not be good with this kind of system, right? Because it is so much so with that. Okay, so to save time, I'll move on. And I have listed 5 textbook type of the success factors for Korea. And then 1, obviously strong political and administrative leadership. And second, Korea is really small in terms of the size. So a new good infrastructure will have significant impact. And then citizens, I mean, Korea was quite successful in terms of not only making the government more efficient with the system, but also more effective to the citizen as well. Efficiency and effectiveness are not necessarily the same, right? You understand that. And then digital inclusion. Korea spent a lot of the effort as a government to have the digital inclusion from the beginning. Not only the elderly, but also gender matters, and also handicapped as such. And then rural and urban disparity, all within the digital inclusion, Korean government spent a lot of effort for that. And then, I don't know how many of you will be able to read the Korean word right there. That's 빨리, quick and quick. Koreans are really notorious about it, right? I mean, they want to do it right away, yeah. So what does that mean? Rapid iteration has been possible. So whenever, I mean, every 6 months, every 3 months, you have to buy new phones, right, in Korea. I'm not that 빨리. That's why I think I am in university. But now let me talk about cooperation between Uzbekistan and Korea. I think 3 areas are possible. One, digital government, which has been doing great deal. One of our former deputy minister of the information technology was the advisor to Uzbekistan some time ago, right? Yeah.
Mr. Kim Nam-sok,
Yeah,
and we
I
all
mean,
remember him
right.
because he was legendary, and he
Yeah,
has been here in the very difficult
Right,
times,
yeah.
2013 and 14. Who remember him? Can you just raise your hand? He has been advising for 3
really?
years.
Good, good.
So he was teaching all of us
really?
how to do better reforms
Yeah,
in digital technologies.
He is known to be good administrator, good government bureaucrats, and I'm sure he learned a lot from you too. Yeah, while he was here. I mean, Uzbekistan is such a wonderful country, in my opinion. I'm not just flattering, right? Yeah, I'm seriously speaking. You are really good. And the second area of the cooperation would be on cybersecurity, which is really, really big issue. This is going to be even bigger issue sooner or later, right? I mean, nowadays Korea has having real trouble with SK Telecom, right? That's not hacking into the system, right? I mean, terrible. I have the same kind of the system, and yeah. And then thirdly, education is always good, not because I am in field of education, but because a nation without proper education will not have the future, right? So in digital area, we need more cooperation between 2 countries to promote the educational environment, to generate educational contents and things like that. And so 3 areas seems to me is good. Time is up means 10 minutes, right? Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. No, I will finish it within a minute. Yeah. Actually, I was given 13 minutes at the beginning.
In Uzbekistan, in our culture, we have immense respect for elderly. Feel free to take as much as you wish, and we obey.
I'm not old, you know. Yeah, actually, I'm old. I'm really old, but I don't like to be told as old. Right. Yeah, right. That's true. But cooperation can be good, but if it is not sustainable, if it is not maintained, right, it won't work at all, right? One time we can work together, but it has to be continuously done. So in order to do that, I think we need to pay 3 areas for the attention. One, institutional cooperation between the similar level of the government or the agencies of the Korea and Uzbekistan do many things together. Not only sharing the experience, but also learning from each other. Yeah, that's really important thing in my opinion, okay? And second one is financial instrument. Money is all the time say everything, right? Money makes everything different. And Korea has some money for international cooperation, I believe. So EDCF and KOICA, there is money source. I mean, there is saying that if you want to have something, you cry, right? No matter who you are, right? So the financially, both countries can cooperate. And the third one, which I want to emphasize, is not only bilateral, but also trilateral. Uzbekistan and Korea will knock the door to international regime like World Bank, ABD, Asian Development Bank, and so on and so on. And then why don't we want to do something like this one? Let's do together, right? So this kind of multilateral, bilateral, or whatever alignment would be really important. So with that, I think Korea will gain a lot from your very, very deep and plentiful history, heritage, and also you will get the recent Korean experience and work together and make the world a little bit better, right? Can we do that? I think we can do that, right? Yeah, we can do it hand in hand or hand with hand. So I think my time is up, and I thank you for your attention, and I'll take any kind of questions if you have. not only for the practical matters, but also intellectual curiosity issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor. And I have to say that there was a big delegation from Uzbekistan last June under the leadership of the Minister of Digital Technologies, Mr. Shermatov, that traveled to Korea. I was also in that delegation because Korea, Seoul, was hosting UN Public Service Forum. But this year, Uzbekistan is hosting, so it was really lovely to see interaction because I think we not only learned from Korea, we keep learning from Korea. While we were there, we've seen how Korea is working on data, how data is being used in Korea, including big data, and AI as well for policy making. So we got back with lots of ideas from Korean, advanced experience. And right now we are discussing the draft legal law on data governance for Uzbekistan. And because we see there is a lot of things that we have to learn. So we do learn, we partner together, we appreciate the past, we appreciate advisory support coming from people traveling from Korea, but also being residing here as advisor to the ministers. And I think it's wonderful that this seems to be mutually beneficial.
Good. I
and
appreciate
enjoyable.
what you're saying, but don't take them as it is. Yeah, don't take them as it is, no matter how good they may be. Don't take them as it is. Always look at it and then see whether they would be applicable to you.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, however good, doesn't necessarily mean it will be good to you as well. Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Now I would like to give a floor to our next speaker, and this speaker is coming from Hungary, so Mr. Viktor Urban, who is a leading expert on digitalization in the Ministry of Justice. So we're going to have very good blend of experts from digital side, but also from justice side, from the legal system side. And Victor was working for more than 10 years as a manager in different type of programs and projects and systems within the government of Hungary, specifically focusing on digital technologies. And Victor will tell us about the objective and measures of the e-justice system in Hungary. And I would like, so you also have a click raising. Sure. Floor is yours.
Thank you, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. First of all, allow me to thank you and for the organizers for inviting our delegation from Hungary to here for this great legal conference. In my presentation, I will give you some brief insights about the approaches and focus points on e-justice in Hungary by the Ministry of Justice of Hungary. I think we have a common sense with this conference. From the morning sessions, my main takeaway was that if you develop the sector of law, the system of law, if you digitalize the system of law, you will develop and digitalize also the society. So you will give some strong pillars for the people, for the society to cope with the digital services in the future. This will be one of the part of our main goals also in Hungary in the approach of digitalization in justice sector. On the first slide, you can see our fundamentals related to digital transformation. So, first of all, it have to be human-centric. So, like you can build some systems for its own purpose, but it will not be effective for the country, for the development of the AI ecosystem. You will need efficient solutions by the digitalization, and if you have efficient and human-centric services, you will gain economic growth also by the development in justice sector. By the digital tools, you will enhancing the access also, because right now there will be maybe some obstacles to access the judicial system. You need to talk several people to gain information from your cases. By the digitalization, you will enhance the access also. So, like you will build the trust in the society also by the digitalization. Modernizing court procedures will result swifter, more effective judiciary. So you can see two pillars in the justice sector, one pillar for the effective judiciary and one pillar for the public administration related to legal cases. Just some brief words about our work in European Union. In last year's second half, Hungary was the leader of European Council, and we have some focus points of this period. We were focusing on fundamental rights and data protection in this phase, and also on the training of professionals in the judicial sector and also on the citizens. If we will have some developed digital solution, we will need citizens to understand it. So like these have to be easy, accessible, easy to use, and trustable solutions, but also we have to give the knowledge for the citizens how to use them. So after the Council presidency, we have some international progress around these topics, and there were some Council conclusions on AI in judicial systems by the Council of European Union, resulted by the EU Hungarian presidency. Allow me to skip these topics about the AI Act. Maybe you know about the European Union regulation of usage of AI. Also regulates Hungary because of the membership. It's generally usable in the whole European Union. Maybe I will just highlight the risk tiers. It's a risk-based approach. So like if you have an AI development, an AI system, you have to categorize it based on the risk of it. So if you are in the high risk tier, then you will have some tasks with the AI Act. If you are in the unacceptable, you will have no task with it, because you will not be able to service in the European Union. In the low risk, there will be no procedures related to that. So let's focus on some of the developments supervised by the Hungarian Ministry of Justice. The short names are in Hungarian, and below you will find the English names. So we have 4 key projects for the next years. First of the project is the Integrated Registry of Legal Entities. Right now, if you want to register a legal entity, it is a task for a court. In the future, you will turn to the governmental authority with this task, and it will be a new, modern, integrated, effective and digitalized system for the companies to facilitate these record-related tasks. Legal acts generally carried out by the automatic decision-making, so you will gain fast access for your legal entity. And transferring data to other public registers will be available also. The next project, oh sorry, I go to bad direction. Okay. The next called Wiki is the National Video Conferencing Network and Service. It is connected to European system also, and this is a closed network of the video conference computers. This is for conferences and hearings online on the courts, on the Hungarian courts, and it's whole closed and end-to-end encrypted system. And in the future, we will have more endpoints for this whole network and more conferences, like not just trials, but some maybe more open conference also. This topic is very hot in the EU also, so with this Hungarian system called Wiki, we will participate in European projects also. Next project called online publicity of court hearings. This will be deliver a very new solution in Hungary to publicly watch some court hearings or court procedures online by a streaming. Sorry, but I tried to find this slide. Okay, it's the second part. So it's a replayable court trial available online, and if you are able to identify online by the digital citizenship program, and you have the proper network, you will be able to streaming some court trials. It is replayable for the goal of enhancing the learning in the Hungarian legal schools also, and for if you maybe want to check out that this court trial was right and fast and effective, so it's like a social checking on the work of the courts. Okay, and next project called Official Gazette 2.0 and National Legal Database 2.0. These are the official method in Hungary to publish legal resources. So with the 2.0 project, we will develop new features in this line. And with the legal database, which this is the solution if you want to find out the Hungarian legal system. So you want to find some regulation. This is the system for that, and it will be developed also. I will go to the slide. You can see that this is the official publication of Hungarian laws, and it will be integrated, the Gazette and the National Legal Database. We will have some built-in AI solutions to analyze the text and to help to enhance the process of interpretation, process of modification of legal system. Simple and modern monitoring of legal regulations, so like if you need only information, you can use it easily to find it. In the National Legal Database 2.0, there will be the approach of user-friendly front-end and very easy usable search service with semantic search and the results sorted by relevance in the paragraphs. So it will make it easier also for the citizens and also for the professionals. Okay, these were the main projects, and I would like to show you the benefits. So as I mentioned, it's all about the citizens. We need to have benefits on the citizen side, on the customer side. Some of the examples are here, like secured personal data, if a citizen give his data for the government, you have to secure it. If you use the digital systems, you need reduced time, reduced cost, citizen-focused processes, remote participation, accessible proceedings, improved assistance for an attractive digital system. And finally, some words about our ministry and our department. It is called Judicial Modernization, Department for Judicial Modernization, and it aims to promote the modernization of judicial sector, coordinate digital developments, increase the efficiency and transparency of the judicial system. Also, you can see some of our memberships here. We are participating in working party of e-justice in European Union, EU AI board subgroups, and also some cybersecurity related programs. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for your interesting presentation. And I have to say that compared to executive branch of government, making justice system digital is much more difficult. I remember like maybe 10 years ago, I met an amazing person who used to be for 15 years the leading person on e-gov reform in Turkey. His name is Ramazan Altınok, and he was, you know, gray hair, very respectable figure in his country. And he was telling me that to make justice reform, to make it digital in Turkey, the government of Turkey sent 250 judges for a one-year program in IT in UK. They paid for them, they got back, and they've created UYAP system that right now in Turkey connects all law enforcement agencies plus courts. So to make reform, sometimes it takes to send legal profession people to understand more IT tools, and that was the shortest, you know, shortcut to make reform happen within the justice system, because justice usually is very conservative, with a lot of caveats, but a lot of legacy systems. So it's interesting that you can also see examples like Hungary, where I don't think anyone was sending 250 judges anywhere, but you still were able to introduce IT system relatively quickly. Thank you so much. Next person, I'm very happy to introduce Rustem Bigari. And I have to make a disclosure. I know him way before this forum, and I was privileged to visit his office in Astana and see a great, amazing IT program, digital government programs that is being run by our colleagues in Kazakhstan. So Rustem has a very long experience in driving digital reforms in the country. He is officially director of the Center for Supporting Digital Government under the Ministry of Digital Development, Innovation and Aerospace Industry of the Republic of Kazakhstan. He will be talking to us about digital transformation of public administration in his country, but we also spent lunch together chatting about classification, about data, about how to make sure that we have data quality, about metadata. So I think this is one of those experiences where we have a lot of common grounds, and we do share knowledge, we do touch base, we discuss many things with a neighboring country, and it's wonderful now to give a floor to Rustem to talk as part of this panel to all of us and share great work that they're doing in neighboring country.
Thank you very much, dear participants, especially Uzbek friends, Kormetli dostlar, Katta Rahmat. It's very happy to be here. Thank you for having us. And before I start, because our speeches is very long, and before I start, let me ask you, what do you think about the digital transformation? Do you want to transform something by digital, or why we do digital transformations? Whereas actually the three approaches when you are going to transform something, especially in justice or other industries. You can optimize process. You can run or do the same paper-based process, or you can disrupt them. So, and let me back to Kazakhstan experience, and I was very happy to share, because they actually, with the Uzbek friends, I have a long history with the cooperations, and I think this cooperation is very helpful for each other. So the re-engineering of the business processes and the re-engineering of the rules, it's very important thing, because how we can change, for whom we can do that, what we can do that, and the very main question, why you are going to transform something. Because when you're talking about our house or own, when you're going to buy a car or real estate or apartment, you know clearly what do you want and do in your house very economy efficient, right? And why we can't do the same thing in government. So how we change? We change with a roadmap for digital transformations. The main document that we have to use for when you do some services for citizen, when you do some services for business, or between government. So, and why we're doing? We talk about the central client-centric state, or in business, it's actually called CRM. Who knows the CRM? Customer Relationship Management. But in Kazakhstan, as a government, as an expert, I called it Citizen Relationship Management, because so when we're talking about government, it's not about the customer, right? But the customer and citizen, the same thing. So, and let's back to, actually that's kind of in Russian, yeah. But yeah, this is the digital transformation industry. The institutional framework, we have business process reengineering methodology, which we were very happy to share with you. It's a very open document, and digital transformation rules and data models. The data models, one of the important things that we are going to discuss after the session or during the session, and then after you can approach AI strategy. Because when we are talking about digital transformations, it doesn't matter, it should be, it might be a government or business. You need to select the processes, business processes. And in the government, it's called function, right? But in one function can include many processes. So, and you have to data, and then you have to analyze technology, modern on the current technology that you can, or technology trends that you can use. So in this slide, you can see, for instance, Kazakhstan experience. So in Kazakhstan government, we have more than 17,000 functions. 30% of them business processes. What is the business processes? It's kind of routine, day-by-day work. Can we avoid some of them? Yes. For instance, nowadays in Kazakhstan, during the 5 minutes, you can register a vehicle by using application. You don't need notary anymore. You don't need, when you register your real estate, in real estate sphere, you can, when you buy an apartment, you need a notary also. But in some countries, very important person, notary. And we actually kindly ask you, all notaries, what you are doing when you verify process between agreement between two persons. What they say, have you seen a message from the notary? As a notary, I approve that the person in a very, it's not with the alcohol or other stuff. Well, and the second one, you needed data. For instance, even in Kazakhstan, as you know, as many persons and experts know in IT sphere, that we are ranking in 10 in e-government in the world, but in data, in fact, we have just 56% from the 100 digitalized data. So, and when you have all 100% processes, you can obtain some AI. I'll give you just one example with the verification certificate, how we and what we do. For instance, with a certification for business, there was a very too high problem identified by our company. There are great certificates without registrations. There are lack of the ability, etc., etc. And we presented the new process, and we're already done with them, which is save every year more than $40 million a year. And they actually a relative degree and efficient process, it's 40%, just 40%. We just disrupted kind of some of the processes. So, and you can see displayed in the slide, more than 2 million certificates nowadays, very transparent. So, what is help? It's help actually between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan in transit when you don't need to show paper-based certificate. So, and then also, as I mentioned before, above, we have a strategy of digital AI because we already have some data. So, and the green highlighted assistant, which is already done in Kazakhstan nowadays. And then we work with the army and assistant 102, or the same as 1119, and FA, Ministry of Foreign Affairs Services, and the tax consultancy. So why we already obtained it? Because we have a data. And as you can see in the AI platform, all highlighted as an assistant. So at the end of my speech, I would say that AI, it's not, AI it's never replaced the person, human, because AI is just an assistant. So thank you very much for attention, and I'm already happy to share many experience that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to give a floor to Abdulkahor Tashmuhamedov, who is from the private sector. So we have quite blended the composition of the panel today, and he's a director of the Green-White Solution, but also his bio says that he has been founder of Yangi Kokeldosh Data Lab, as well as a Green-White Solutions company. So quite a wide range of different businesses in IT and digital technologies, with a special focus on the education. Floor is yours, yeah.
Assalomu alaykum. O'zbek tilida prezentatsiya qilaman. Qaror qildim. Menda bundan buyog'iga O'zbekistondagi hamma chiqishlarim faqat o'zbek tilida bo'ladi deb. To'g'ri tushunasizlar degan maqsaddaman. Sababi men uchun O'zbekistonda o'zbek tilida bo'lishi muhim. Bugungi kunda bizning korxona 10 dan ko'proq davlatlarda ishlab kelgan holda juda ko'p muammolarga va imkoniyatlarga duch keldik. Nima muammolar bor, nima imkoniyatlar bor deganda, bu asosiysi hamma davlatlarda davlat xizmatlari, hamma narsa shuni ustida quriladi va hamma davlatlarda davlat korxonalari shaxsiy korxonalar turida ishlab keladi, strukturasida. Bu davlat korxonalarini yikkilashtiradi, qaror qabul qilishda, o'zgarishda. Masalan, oddiy men o'zimizni O'zbekistonni misolda oladigan bo'lsa, mana shun ikkita davlat korxonasi bor. Digital transformation deyotganimizda bu birinchisi Adliya vazirligi, ikkinchisi soliq qo'mitasi deyman. Juda ko'p ishlar qilyapti. Masalan, menda kallamga nimadir savol keladigan bo'lsa, davlat qaysidir korxonasiga murojaat qilish to'g'risida birinchi bo'lib bu davlat xizmatlar markazida bormikin deyman. Keyin o'sha vazirlikka saytiga kiraman, agar davlat xizmatlar markazidan topmasam. Ko'ramiz, oxirgi 1 yil ichida davlat xizmatlar markazi o'sib boryapti va bu bizda juda ko'p qulaylik olib kelyapti. Lekin buni o'ziga yarasha cheklovi ham bor. Bugungi kundagi davlat xizmatlar markazi qanchalik ko'p xizmatlar ko'rsatishda oshib borgani sari bu davlat davlat uchun bu qimmatga tushib boraveradi. Nega? Sababi har bitta xizmatni yaratish bu qo'shimcha soliq degani, qo'shimcha xarajat degani. Agar tadbirkorligini oladigan bo'lsa, shaxsiy korxonalarda, dunyodagi katta korporatsiyalarda bugungi kunda infrastruktura tuzilayotganda digital backbone arxitekturasi orqali quriladi. Korxonalar 3 ta levelga bo'lgan holda, birinchisi core level deymiz, bu davlat o'zi fundamental qurish kerak va boshqarish kerak bo'ladigan ma'lumotlar bor. U davlatda tasarrufida qolish kerak xavfsizlikni ta'minlash uchun va bu o'rinda davlat butun ma'lumotlarni har xil vazirliklardan yig'ishi va buni sandbox deymiz ingliz tilida, endi o'zbek tilida hali ko'p qilmaganman, kechirasizlar, harakat qilyapman bu yog'iga endi qilishga faqat. Sandbox deymiz, keyin qolgan korxonalarga bu ma'lumotlarni bo'lishishi. Bu davlatda asosiy fokusini Adliya vazirligi misolida ko'radigan bo'lsa, hamma yangi chiqayotgan o'zgarishlar baribir adliyani tasdiqi bilan o'tadi. Oxirgi bunga tasdiqlaydigan adliya buni to'g'ri desa, bu qonunga kirgizilsa ishlaydi. Shuning uchun ko'p davlatlarda ko'rayotgani bu adliyani qoshida qanaqadir sandbox qurilyapti va shuni ustida yig'ilib ma'lumotlarni keyingi darajadagi korxonalarga va platformalarga o'tkazilyapti yoki universitetlarga. Ikkinchi level bu business level deymiz. Ko'proq biz endi biznes anaqasida bu yerda korxonalar qanaqadir sohaviy qanaqadir dasturlar, platformalar yaratish, lekin bu to'g'ridan to'g'ri birinchi darajadagi platforma gulanishi va birinchi darajali platforma bilan ma'lumot almashiladi. Uchinchisi bu digital apps deyiladi. Platformasida bu digital apps bu har xil kichkinagina g'oyalarni, yangi g'oyalarni sinab ko'rishda va oldinga yurishda yordam beradi. Fundamental bu o'zi nimaga kerak deydigan bo'lsa, boy yetganimiz birinchisi soliqlarni kamaytirish. Ikkinchisi davlat korxonasini fokusini to'g'ri qilib, to'g'ri protsesslarni to'g'ri ishlashini ta'minlab berishga olib keladi. Uchinchisi bu eng asosiy narsa deymiz. Bizani O'rta Osiyoda eng ko'p aholisi bor davlat biz hisoblanamiz. Bu aholini asosiy qismi bizda yoshlar hisoblanadi. Agar dunyo statistikasini oladigan bo'lsa, startaplarni o'rinida startaplar AQShda 40 dan 50 yoshgacha bo'lgan yoshdagilar uspешный startap qilar ekan, muvaffaqiyatli startap qilar ekan. Yevropaning statistikasi bo'yicha o'rtacha 34 dan 42 yoshgacha. Bizdagi statistika bu 18 dan 27 yoshdagi yoshlar startap qilyapti. Buni nimaga kerakligi, digital backbone'ga rioya qilishimiz kerak deganda, bizdagi yoshlarimizni ko'pligi va davlat riskni o'zidan kamaytirgan holda, mana statistika ko'rsatyapmiz, mahalliy venture fondlarni puli 130 milliondan ko'p mablag'i bor. Lekin bu mablag'i bugungi kundagi o'zlashtirilgan holati 2025-yilga nisbatan 13 milliondan sal oshyapti. Bu 10% dan kamroq o'zlashtirilgan. Davlat budjetdan pul ajratilyapti. Bu budjetdagi mablag' ichkarida sarflanyapti. Bu hech qanaqada ertangi buni qo'llab-quvvatlash deymiz, podдержкасы, supporti qimmatga tushib boryapti ertangi kunda. Lekin yoshlarni o'zini tadbirkorligini qilishi, bu ma'lumotlar yig'ilayotgan ma'lumotlarni tarqatilishi va to'g'ri qaror qabul qilishda yoshlarning o'rni juda kam bo'lib qolyapti. Bu hozir anaqamizda hali biz qo'shmaganmiz xalqaro fondlarning pulini. Yoshlarimiz juda ko'p harakat qilishyapti. Juda ko'p oldinga yurishyapti, lekin bu ma'lumotlarga bo'linish va Adliya vazirligi bilan soliq qo'mitasichalik bo'linmayotganligi bu qiyinchilik olib kelyapti. Meni fikrimcha, adliyani qilayotgan ishi to'g'ri, faqat endi bu yog'iga o'zida sandbox tomoniga aylanadigan bo'lsa va asosiy core xizmatlarni o'zida olib qolib turib, Adliya vazirligini davlat xizmatlari markazi super appsga aylanadigan bo'lsa, bu davlat uchun ham, yoshlarimiz uchun ham yaxshigina imkoniyat bo'ladi va davlatni darajasida juda ko'p risklarni biz kamaytiramiz. Va eng asosiysi bizadagi bugungi kunda AI deyapmiz, boshqa narsa deyapmiz. Birinchi o'rinda biza to'g'ri qaror qilishimiz uchun biz uchun to'g'ri qaror qilishga ma'lumot kerak. Bugungi kunda ko'p korxonalar, davlat korxonalarida ahamiyat berganda, bu ma'lumotlarda qiyinchilik yoki almashishda yoki qonunchiligida juda ko'p chegirmalar bor deymiz, mana qiyinchiliklar bor. Hamma joyda bizda nima desangiz, mana biz bugungi kunda o'zimizning misolimizni aytadigan bo'lsa, 2024-yil bizning korxona O'zbekistonning o'zida bizning mijozlarimizni 5 milliard 276 million dollarlik GMV qilgan. Biz buni qanaqa qilib qonun darajasida bo'lishib turib ishlatsa bo'ladi degan joyda ko'p joyda qiyinchiliklar bor. Bu degani O'zbekistonning ofitsial 5% VVPsi degani. Bu joyda qiyinchiliklar bor. Agar qonun davlat ko'proq shu regulирование tomonini yo'lga qo'yib yordam beradigan bo'lsa, bizda juda ko'p talant yoshlarimiz bor. Yaxshi o'qishyapti, yaxshi imkoniyatlar yaratilyapti. Bizda bundan ham ko'proq foyda bo'ladi. Qo'shni davlatlarimizdan tajribasini oladigan bo'lsa, davlat xizmatlari ko'payib borgan sari xizmatlari endi tushunib, u ushab turish qimmatligidan ba'zilarini уже kamaytirishga to'g'ri kelyapti. Sababi buni ushab turish juda qiyin. Buni ushlashi faqat yaxshi yo'li va har bitta regionimizga moslashish yo'li faqatgina o'sha lokal startaplarni chiqarish, o'sha lokal startaplar o'sha joyida yaxshiroq yechim bera oladi. O'sha joyda yashayotgan aholiga. Oxirida yaxshi banner bilan aniq qilaman. Oldingi yil Tashkentda qatnashganimizda San Fransiskoda shu bannerni ko'rgandan keyin men o'zimda fikrlashim o'zgargan edi. Asosiy better data, better AI. Agar biz ma'lumotni to'g'ri saqlash, обработка qilishni o'rganmas ekanmiz, biz AI to'g'risida gapirish menimcha sal voqliroq deb o'ylayman. Shuning uchun asosiy menga bermoqchi bo'lgan faslim bu harakat qilishimiz kerak. Bu davlat bilan shaxsiy korxonalarni, yoshlarni birlashtirish va hozirgi ketayotgan davlat xizmatlari markazini asosiy anaqasi bu universitetlar bilan va lokal startaplar bilan ko'proq yaxshilasa, ko'proq bizda startaplar chiqadi va bizani O'zbekistondagi imkoniyatlarimizni yana oshiradi deb aytaman. Rahmat kattakon.
Kattakon rahmat taqdimotingiz uchun. Hammaga qiziqarli bo'lib deb o'ylayman, chunki GChP o'zi hammamiz uchun juda nozik masala. По большому счету, so basically what has been communicated, in my view, maybe I'm mistaken, is instead of trying to do yourself, try to outsource to private sector to grow together. And I think it would be relevant not only to the Ministry of Justice, but I think to all key players now that are having sometimes a tendency to create some subsidiary, branches and companies, and in a way trying to deliver themselves. That used to be a very good solution in the past, I have to say, because for that we had very sustainable business models where, it was just giving some sort of stability. But in the meantime now, given how vibrant is the local market for IT solutions, it's incomparable to Uzbekistan 10 years ago. It can also become a bottleneck. With only one caveat, I would say that usually sandboxes are in many countries under the central banks, if it's fintech. It can be under any ministry. It can be under the Ministry of Digital if needed, or maybe the justice as well. But as long as there is readiness then to make them grow as well. So I definitely was very impressed. It's my first encounter with Abdulqahor Tashmuhamedov, but I also would like to follow up afterwards and hear more about, maturity of the private sector to take over more and more. Because if we will adopt the law on data, if we're going to create a proper architecture for data, there will be huge share for private sector to come and do something. In Korea, that I mentioned before, they quantified that almost 2% of GDP comes in Korea from private sector working on the public open data. So just to give you a flavor, 2% every year revenue just because they were able to open up to the private sector. Thank you so much, Abdulkahor Tashmuhamedov. The next speaker is Anvar Narzulayev, who is the director and co-founder of Mohirdev. It's a company in Uzbekistan that does a lot of educational projects. They're very popular. Young people all know them very well. And they have around 50,000 active users of the services. And they're the ones who bring AI, programming, DevOps, cloud computing type of training courses to the young people. And Anwar will talk to us about advancing public services with AI in Uzbekistan.
Thank you very much for introducing and for inviting me to this forum. And you may ask, what is EdTech company doing here? Because we are our company primarily known for the EdTech as an EdTech company. But we were the first company that was just 4 years ago to introduce the AI and data science boot camps in the country. And at that time, if you just 4 years ago, you know, that it's not just far, but at that time, nobody think about the AI as we think about it today. Today, AI is everywhere. Everybody wants to implement AI in their solutions. But 4 years ago, we have to pitch it very hard. So at that time, I was abroad. We were seeing the trends that AI is coming, and we were pushing for that. And unfortunately, at that time, not a lot of organizations were interested in that. But we were the first to introduce nevertheless, we were the first to introduce these boot camps to the country. And it's paying out. Today, we see that all of our graduates working in a high-level positions in the different companies as AI analysts, AI engineers, machine learning engineers, and so on. And then, because we were the pushing and we were pitching the AI, we were introduced to different government organizations in different capacity. Sometimes we just provide the training to their staff, but quite often we work with them, we develop their systems, we advise them, and so on. And for the past 3 years, we were happy to work with different levels of the organizations and the government levels, including, for example, the President administration as well. So we advise them, we help them with their AI systems, and so on. And today, actually, I want to focus on our experience building the AI in Uzbekistan. So we are one of the partners with, for example, the Ministry of Justice. That's why I'm here today. We are developing several solutions for the Ministry of Justice, including this AI chatbot, the smart assistants, and the call center operators, and so on. And for the past these 3 years, we saw the certain challenges working with the government. And today, I want to focus on that. And first of all, we have to know that we, just last year, our government started, our president, he issued a decree about our AI strategy, AI development strategy, and it's actually a very good strategy. But there are a few challenges implementing that strategy. First of all, the clear AI adoption strategy in organization levels. So when we got invited to the certain or different government organization, they don't know what to do. They heard about the AI, they know there's AI strategy, the government strategy, but they don't have the clear agenda, what to do, what is AI is capable of. And then sometimes we see that even within the same organization, different departments working on the same solution. So this happens quite a lot. And when we point this out, they still keep doing that. Instead of joining the efforts, within the same organization, different branches, they work on the same solutions, using the same data, but with different companies, sometimes with different vendors, and so on. And then as I said, that this is like fragmented efforts and unclear priorities. So we know the AI strategy is there, but what is the priority for the certain specific organization or the specific department? That's not clear yet. So I think each organization have to work on that. Second is the lack of understanding of AI capabilities. So this is a twofold problem. On the one hand, it's a misaligned expectations. On the other hand, it's missed opportunities. And this happens a lot when we invited to certain ministry and they say that do something. So what exactly you want to do? Do you know what AI is capable of? No, but show us something. Why? Because quite often, instead of the strategy, they work with deadlines. So there's a deadline until end of the year. They want to show something. They want to showcase something. But they don't know what exactly they can show. So quite often this happens, lack of understanding of AI capabilities. And another issue is the lack of resources. This includes the human resources. And this is a main issue. So we don't have enough talents, especially in the government level, working in AI, working with machine learning engineers, data engineers, and so on. As Abdulgahar pointed out, the data is the king when you want to build the AI systems, but unfortunately, we don't have enough data engineers. And then the lack of, as you know, the AI is very expensive in terms of hardware. So quite often the organizations, especially government organizations, they have the very limited hardware resources as well. And of course, the funding. So there is no budget for building the AI systems. And as I said, the AI is very expensive. So what are our proposals or the solutions to moving forward? First of all, of course, we need the actionable AI strategy in every level, not only just the government top level, but in every organization level, department level, and so on. How are we going to create AI? Why are we creating it? For example, I like the Kazakhstan's experience or the Hungary experience. They have the very clear objectives like human-centric AI and so on. Yes, we have to have that kind of objective, that kind of strategy. So what is important for us, let's say for the next 2 years, next 5 years, next 10 years, and work towards that goals. And of course, we have to teach the AI in every level, not just what is AI capable of, but how to use it. Quite often, the people are not using AI properly. So we see that. And even those who are, for example, most of people are not using. But when they are using, they'll just limit it with one app, for example, ChatGPT, or Gemini, and so on. And they even don't know the capabilities of that specific tool they are using. So we have to create the proper training programs in every level, from the bottom until the up. So the managers, the CEO levels, or the government, the management levels, they have to know what is AI is capable and how they can use the AI in their daily life. For example, in my case, when I work, 90% of my time I work with AI. So this is my daily routine now. So instead of typing to my direct employee, I directly type to the ChatGPT or Gemini or the tool that I'm using currently. So I use at least 5 different tools, and it helps me a lot. In private sector is already adopting it. We are using it heavily in every level, marketing, the sales, even in C levels. So to build a company strategy, for example, we had last year we have the OKR sessions, Objectives Key Results session, and we built the whole company strategy using the Gemini. It took us around 1 month, but it's much more faster than when you did it manually. And of course, we need the resources. As I said, the human resources, we have to train the engineers, more engineers, and also the government have to acknowledge that we need more hardware, more money, and actually the Ministry of Digitalization already doing that. We're building the digital data centers and so on, but those data centers have to support the AI solutions as well. So that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And actually, I would like to say that organizers, the Ministry of Justice, did really a great job in selecting speakers, because I really love the diversity here. But also, we've heard, we actually covered very wide spectrum of topics just in 1.5 hours. I know that we are behind the schedule, but I still think it's very authoritarian not to open up the floor, at least for one question from the audience. So I do take one question from the audience. And after that, we will all be going to the coffee break and come back for the second part. And I already see here the Deputy Minister of Digital who came and joined us a bit earlier, and others. So who is the person who would like to ask one question? And it's not orchestrated, because I do have some suggestions. I'm not using them. I really want this to be a real question from the audience. Or maybe comment or suggestions. Or which of the views resonate the most with the audience here? Because we have very different people from different ministries, from different companies. Yes. Can we have a mic for our... Oh, I see.
Yeah, but I have only one question, because this is the debate, and I think that for public service delivery, in most of cases, you need the human consent for the provision of the service. Is this just an automatization? Are we really speaking about AI in public services?
Would you like this to be addressed to a specific person, or you would like, okay.
I mean, it's an open question.
So Rustem would be.
Yeah,
sure.
let me start. Thank you for the question. So there is many debates about the using AI and how you will use them, and even if citizens don't wanna be transparent. So, and this is again when I mentioned about the CRM. When you need some service from the company, for instance, from Amazon or from Google, you have to share your data, your profile, right? And the same thing in the government. But sometimes when we're talking about the government services for citizens, even if it's called electronic government, e-government, so it's more about the scoring. Let's say, example with education. If you have kids and your kids already in 6 years old, right? They have to start the first class in the school. They have to go, right? As a government, I can give you advice that near your house we have 4 very convenient and very comfortable schools that you can apply. Is it convenient for you? Yes, it is. But you have a chance to take another private school, right, that you may choose, right? So, and in Kazakhstan, we're not finished yet with this debate, but there is kind of, a border to use data about citizen and give some opportunity and services for citizen. For instance, in the case of the smart data UKMET, or smart data government, we have the huge data lake, and that this data unpersonalized. For instance, if you are students at university, actually as a young, you have to go to army, right? But during your studying period, you have some break. So, and we have this data, and you don't need to go to army department, or how it's called, and you have to, you shouldn't argue that I am a student, I need a break. We automatically give this break during your studying at university. It is convenient, right? Because now we save more than $2 or $4 billion a year, avoiding to young men or young students who have to go to the army and asking some break. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Do we really need AI to do this kind of process?
No, that's why I mentioned it's about scoring. So it's kind of scoring, but using AI, it's more about some suggestion or some advising. It's not kind of, because nowadays in Kazakhstan we still debate about the law of regulation AI. Because what is the AI? Actually, as for me, it's not artificial intelligence. It's an algorithm intelligent, because it's kind of line function, right? From the math, the mathematics. It's kind of, and it's still open discussion. What sort of the algorithms you put in your AI model?
I think I will use my privilege as a moderator to interrupt, but what I would like to do, I would like every speaker here in the panel raise hand if you think at some point humankind might regret AI revolution because it will not longer be able to control the machines. Can you just raise your hand if you think there is some sort of fear? Those who are confident, super positive, you don't need to raise your hand. That would be, I think, self-explanatory. Then I can tell you the second part of the story. I'm taking right now, thanks to the government program, executive diploma at Oxford Side Business School on strategy and innovation. And my classmate, my course mate, he is a lead lawyer of Google. And on the train back from Oxford to London, we had a big conversation. Those who know, it's around 1 hour to travel from Oxford to London. So 1 hour with the biggest lawyer of Google. We had conversation about AI. And he was the one who told me, at some point, we might regret. And that's why if we are not yet at that stage, maybe we don't know enough about AI. So this is a very good food for thought. And I would like to see you back in 10 minutes after coffee break for the impressive second cohort of speakers for the second part of this panel. Thank you so much. See you in 10 minutes. Thank you to all speakers.
Раз, два, три, проверка.
Можно попросить коллег из Минюста, как организаторов, пригласить желающих зайти, и мы закроем дверь и начнем. Я приглашаю всех наших уважаемых спикеров занимать места. So I would like to invite Mr. Kit Carter, Ceyhun Salmanov, Mir Cheyesanu, Helena Lep, Olimjon Omarov, Eldor Makamov to take seats.
I'll sit next to you.
Yeah, sure. So we're about to start second interesting part of the session related to digital public administration and transformation of public services. And I suggest some minor changes in the program because we were supposed to start with a speaker from Australia, but organizers made our challenge even harder. We've been requested to finish before 6 p.m. because then the guests will be taken to the dinner. So maybe we should start. Maybe we should try to cut the timing to make it not the 12 minutes, but rather maybe 6, 8 is possible. Mr. Peterson, very warm welcome. Floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. Can you hear me now? I'll try to speed up and cut a few slides here and there. And I hope you can see all the slides. So thanks. So I'm the Chief Digital Officer in the state of Western Australia, oversee strategy, policy, funding of all our initiatives here, and support the minister in collaboration with the other states as well. So I have a sense of what the other states are doing as well. Before this role, which I've been in 5 years, I worked on digital innovation and transformation in Denmark. So I have a Danish background. Both Australia and Denmark are really doing well on digital transformation and in the ranked in many ways in many different rankings as some of the best placed countries. So this is the UN's ranking from 2024. Denmark is placed at the top. The same was the case in 2022, 2020, and 2018. So the 3 rankings done previously. As you can see, Australia is ranked as number 8, really good as well. However, there are really substantial differences if you look at the digital support of citizens' interactions that government provide. And that's really something that impacts the efficiency of the public sector as well as the overall productivity and competitiveness of the economy. I'll go in and give you a little bit of an impression of what it is like, what government services look like in the two countries. So first I'll look at Denmark, where basically Denmark has started a long time ago. Three key solutions are the digital ID, it's some online user interfaces and portals, and then the digital post solutions. And I'll probably skip quite lightly over the digital post solution. There are a number of other good solutions, of course, but I'll just focus in on these. So the digital ID, I think that's pretty key. That was introduced in Denmark already in 2010 when the government sent this card to all citizens. That basically allowed them to log in with two-factor authentication to all the government services using the first factor, which is something so a password and username, and then something you have, which they had with this card, where they could basically match up the numbers on the card and then prove that they had that card, which was a two-factor authentication. Later, once we've started having mobile phones, of course, you have the third factor of biometrics as well, because you can support that with the mobile phones. The take-up of the digital identity was really good from the beginning. And I think a key reason for that was that the government partnered with banks. And my understanding is that it was the same approach as in Estonia and in Singapore, who has also been really well developed in this area and have good digital identity ecosystems. So it's a clear recommendation to focus on banks if you want to drive service transformation. Then partner with the banks on digital identity. There were some upgrades over the following years to include mobile phones, of course. I think the main message here is that I could use my old digital identity to upgrade not just once, but twice since then to better digital identities. That means I haven't needed to show any sensitive paper copies of any documents to prove who I am to get the new digital identity. It also means that ever since 2010 in Denmark, at least I haven't had to give any agencies those different driver's licenses or birth certificates or anything like that. And they haven't had to store that type of information as proof that I'm the right person that they're serving. So that, of course, again, then reduces the attack surface and the risk of cyber attacks substantially when you don't store all that sensitive data across the whole public sector. The digital identity in Denmark, it's used both by private and public government sectors. One of the 700 different websites used in 2019. It unlocks, for example, the citizens portal. That portal has 2,000 services available for citizens. It also unlocks the business portal, where businesses can go and do their business with government, and that portal has 1,600 services available. In the later years, it's also started being used in the more physical space. So when I went back to Denmark in May, I needed to renew my passport, so I just booked an appointment on this citizens portal. But then when I went to the to the service center, I could just log in using my digital ID to one of the photo machines. It automatically took my photo. I went home. 3 days later, I could come back and basically unlock a little locker where my new passport was lying, and I could just pick it up, and it was done. And I didn't have to interface with anyone, but I just unlocked the physical environment with my digital ID. This picture is from the center of Copenhagen. It's a Save the Children store. You unlock the door with your digital ID. It's unmanned, so you just walk in, you pay with a mobile pay or something like that, and then you walk out again. So that's another example how it's being integrated by businesses as well in everyday life. The Citizens Portal, 2,000 services, 3 levels of government covered, so all levels of government, all public entities. It includes some shortcuts to the most used services. So for example, what it means is that, as an example, when I moved to Australia, I pressed this moving button. That took me to a form. The form was pre-filled with my name, address, and so on. I just had to put in my new address and press submit. That information was then shared across the 3 levels of government and with the private companies that I had consented to that information being shared with. And it meant that then the relevant agencies basically stopped my child benefits because I wasn't entitled to those when living overseas. My general practitioner was no longer assigned to me and could take another patient. And my private insurance company would basically, they automatically refunded my premium that I had paid back into my bank account because the insurance didn't cover me when I was overseas. So just some examples of how all of this kind of works together. The portal also have both an overview of all my data, so my health data, financial data, and so on. And there's a digital post service, which means basically, I'll jump over it in a minute, but in practice, it just means that in Denmark, government and all private companies, they're no longer sending physical letters, but they are sending formal letters digitally. They come into your mailbox on your phone, so I can access it even though I'm living in Australia with no problem, and it doesn't go to an old address. It always goes to wherever you live. There are a number of live situations that are being supported as well. Live events are fully supported. So that's basically a bundling of the different 2,000 services. So you are supported through the different events of your life. It includes step-by-step guides, and it also kind of lets you know how much time you as a user should expect to provide the information, and also what the processing time of the agencies behind would be. So if it's 2 days, we say come back in 2 days and then continue with the next step in the process. All right, I'll skip this part due to the time pressure, which is otherwise around how we introduced the citizens portal, how we introduced the digital post services and the impact of that. But you can see here already in 2021, it was 190 million letters that were sent digitally rather than in person, and that's for 6 million, a population of 6 million people. So you can kind of gather the benefits. This one, my intention was to just talk briefly around how it was legislated, and that drove massive uptake of these solutions in Denmark. I'll now move on and say a little bit about Australia and what the situation is there. Again, I'll talk to the same issues, the same 3 issues. So in Australia as well, you've started somewhat later, and the whole setup is more fragmented as well, I would say, and it's more manual and more paper-based still today compared to Denmark. You have a digital identity. It's being used primarily at the federal level, and it's so not at the other levels of government, not by states, not by local governments. It's fairly difficult, really, to set up the My ID, really, and companies are not allowed to use it. Other states, so states don't use it in general. My own state have tried to use it as a pilot to give all our citizens access to our services using the federal identity, because we wanted to reuse it. In reality, it just turns out that it is there are some issues with the functionality as well as the way it's being operated by the central authorities. That makes it very difficult for us to do. So I think in the end, we'll have to probably establish our own digital identity. I'll leave it that aspect there. There is an interface in Australia as well. Again, it's only or primarily being used by federal agencies, not by the other 3 levels of government. It's fairly few services that you can access, so 17 major service areas, I would say. There is an inbox, but again, only from basically linked to fairly few of the service providers. One of the problems you have in Australia is as well that each service manually needs to get linked to this MyGov account, and that can be difficult to do in practice. Personally, I've only been able to link to 2 of the services so far over the 5 years I've been here. Good, I'll jump on to the next. Basically, a consequence of some of these challenges is that the states are then starting to develop their own capabilities, so introduce their own user interfaces and inboxes as well. So in my case, we're introducing what we call a Service WA app, which will be the home of whole of government at the state level services. But of course, ideally, you would have all the different layers, including local governments, integrated into one solution and using the same. In Australia, I still see quite many physical letters. So these are letters that I've personally received. They are all letters to people who lived in my home before me. And I moved in 4 years ago. Some of these letters came in 2025. So you see the inefficiencies, and that would be basically hospital appointments or bills that need to be paid. And there are a substantial cost to basically relying on this kind of paper-based sources, as well as not having an easy way to share updates to addresses or other important aspects of your life. You also still need to go to many agencies on a one-by-one basis, so go to the specific agency or the specific department to access their services. So you need to know which department owns which services to be able to access them. And that can be either on their own website with their own login mechanism, or it can be in person in some cases. All right, so with that, I just want to quickly conclude. So my key message is that Denmark and Australia are actually quite advanced, both of them. And Australia have really good solutions as well, but they are just more disjointed. And I do think that has a big impact on that kind of the efficiency of the public sector, and that in turn has that impact on the overall economy's productivity and competitiveness with other economies. If you're interested in some more details on some of the things I've just briefly touched upon, I've published a few articles on LinkedIn. I'll publish a few more in Singapore in a few days or in a few weeks, based on a recent visit over there. They have done some really good things and are really advanced as well. And then I've just put here a few questions that I think is relevant to think about if you're kind of pursuing your digital journey or digital transformation journey. So the first one is really around, have you really got a clear vision across all the different ministries, different departments? And if so, does that include establishment of a well-functioning digital identity? I think that's really critical and recommended to have, because that unlocks so many other services. And if you are establishing a digital identity, are you then planning to partner with banks as well? If not, I would recommend to do that, because that drives uptake among the masses. The second question is around governance, and where it's just the question is whether you have that clear governance, so you're actually able to make decisions across many different parts of your government and kind of overcome the collective action problem and make everyone move ahead jointly. The third question is whether the strategy and your kind of implementation plan is well funded and sustainably resourced. Because if agencies, ministries, departments, local governments, if they don't trust that your central capabilities that will replace some of their existing capabilities, if they don't trust that that will still be there next year or 2 years from now, they cannot basically shut down their own similar functionalities, which means you can't get the benefits from this kind of transformation. So with that, I think I'll skip, and I'm not really sure how much time I ended up using, but I hope that clarified a little bit about how things are in both Australia and in Denmark.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. We would like to thank you with applause.
Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. Now I would like to give a floor to the next speaker, who is Keith Carter, and he's a technology strategist, KDA Capabilities, the company partner. He's also founder of JustAskProf.com, and the Keith will talk to us about the reimagining public services with AI and proactive governance.
And I have just I have 3 slides. One to show you what AI does as well. Why are you here? Are you here to see inspiring speeches, to network with people, to perhaps share your own success? I hope all 3. And in addition, I hope one more thing, to take action when you go back home after this, to make a difference in people's lives. I want to paint for you 2 interesting pictures. One is that we're at a time of greater opportunity than ever before because there's great new AI jobs. This is a website by X.AI, and they have their own, of course, Grok AI and such. They're hiring for 900 AI tutors. Now, this is not an AI tutor that teaches kids in elementary school. No, this is a person who can speak 1 or 2 languages, but who can categorize data. This is the new blue-collar job. Where is this on your roadmap in a time of great underemployment, when too many engineers, past factory workers are driving Grab, Yandex Go, and so forth? These are things that are, in Singapore, we call them the iron rice bowl. It guarantees you some income, but it's clearly underemployment. I think if they could be AI tutors helping to clean data, that could be something interesting. On the other side, we have white-collar jobs. White-collar jobs that are in a position to be AI optimizers. See, the real reason we started to go down this AI path was because of the excitement that the AI was able to beat a Go player. And Go is a game of attrition and position. In business, we also position ourselves and try to get more customers and get that as attrition from our competitors. So AI is used as a chess tool, as a way to play the game, as a way to predict the next move. And my AI, if it's the same as yours, we can't compete. I have to have a better AI than yours. So every country needs its own AI. And this brings me to sovereignty of your AI. At any time in this geopolitical environment, you could wake up and have no access to ChatGPT. Would that impact your productivity plan? And lastly, productivity is not the point of AI either. It's to win, not just in terms of speed, but also revenue delivery. So I leave you with this. We're at a time of great underemployment. What can each of us do? We're at a time when people, I've heard speaker after speaker, my department doesn't know, doesn't use. What are they doing with their time? We all have 24 hours a day. No one has more or less. Are they on social media, Instagram, reading the next post instead of learning about the next job that they really need to have? How do we use our time? And never mind about the people sitting next to us who are irresponsible. We can't help them. Our kids we need to help. And where are the policies that help prevent the high suicide rates among young girls as they get absorbed into social media? Before we get into regulating something we don't understand and don't use, let's regulate the something that's been taking away our time for the past decade or so. I hope that you're all here to take action, and let's make a difference together.
Thank you very much. I think after this, we all go and check more about the tutor on AI and what type of new jobs of future we need to think about. The next speaker is Ceyhun Salmanov, and it's a great pleasure to introduce our wonderful colleagues from Brotherly Nation, wonderful Azerbaijan. And Ceyhun has been working for a very long time in the area of public service delivery in Azerbaijan. Right now, he is a deputy chair of the State Agency for Public Service Delivery and Social Innovation under the President of Azerbaijan. But he has been also, working on digital transformation and innovation in public services. In conversation before this panel, he mentioned that he was the one who laid the ground, the foundation for this. But I thought, you seem to be too young for being the person who would be laying any grounds. But apparently, in 13 years of his work, he was the one who was one of the pioneers in this area in his country. And I think it's a great privilege to see people consistently staying in the sector and doing reforms for more than a decade in the same area. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I would like to start with our digital journey. We started our digital journey in 2003 in Azerbaijan, and we started to create our own e-government portal. But during 8-9 years, we realized that it's not working. Why? Because of several different causes, reasons. We realized that we need something different, totally new innovation in order to create value for our citizens. And in 2012, with the decree of Mr. President, we created a new agency, which is called State Agency for Public Services and Social Innovations, under the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan. How to change that? Okay. And the main objective of this agency was innovate in public sector. And one of our innovations was about gathering different government organizations under one roof. It's like what you have in Uzbekistan, Devlet Hizmetleri Merkezi. And for now, we have more than 400 services which are provided under one roof. And approximately half of that services are private sector services. Why? Because there are some services, government services, which needs private sector services intervention as well, documents as well, in order to simplify service processes, service practice of our citizens. We gathered all of them under one roof. And now more than 15 ministries are providing their services in our service centers. We have 28 service centers, and we covered all the country. Besides, in some areas where we don't have service centers, we send our buses and train there, specially equipped train and buses, in order to serve our citizens. And of course, we are living in a digital age, and we are living in a fourth industrial revolution. We know that digitalization is very important, AI is very important in order to apply in different sectors, especially in public sector. But we think that as a government, our main responsibility is not automating services, or is not applying digital platforms, tools, and etc. Our main responsibility is to make sure that our citizens are happy, are satisfied, also their rights and are based on the legislation and rules. Therefore, we think that us and kind service centers is very important even in digital age. And because when you start to digitalize fully, you see some problems. We know that in each country there is a gap between elder people, younger people, also between regions and capital. Therefore, for leaving no one behind, we need omni-channel access to service delivery. Also, in some countries, like in Singapore, in South Korea, in other countries, we are traveling a lot and learning from each other. They are now moving to this kind of service malls, service centers in their countries. Why? Because they see that sometimes digitalization does not create happiness for their citizens and creates asocial citizens in their countries. And therefore, they need somewhere people can socialize, can get face-to-face services and be happy. And we are very happy that we have 99.8% satisfaction level. As I said, we started our digital journey in 2003, but we all know that innovation is innovation when it creates value. If you just create digital platforms, digital tools, and no one uses them, then it is not digital innovation. And if your innovation doesn't touch the lives of people, then it's not innovation, then it's not valuable. Therefore, what we have seen during these years, this concept is working and creating value for our citizens. Therefore, now we have 99.8% satisfaction rate. We always say to our colleagues, to delegates from different countries, don't ask from us about ASAN. Ask from taxi drivers, ask from hotel staff and others, and they will tell you what ASAN for them and how ASAN changed their practices, their traditional way of getting services. And as ASAN service, we are not service provider because of conflict of interest. We are not service provider. We just make sure that all the government services are based on rules, legislation, without a bureaucracy and transparently. And also, like we talked about digitalization and AI tools, we know that we need to apply these tools in service delivery process as well. We started to digitize our call center with AI, and we are about to launch our call center. And it's generative AI. It answers the questions, responds to the questions of our citizens based our legislative acts. And with the AI solution, we are planning to cover 30% of all calls, because we have 400 services and our call center operators responding not only questions about ASAN service, but about other government organizations as well. It creates us several problems. One of the problems is the retention problem. When you hire new workers, it's very difficult to teach them to answer questions about 400 services. And besides from that, we have situation centers, special situation center in ASAN service, which monitors all the service processes, also service operators. We implemented AI to that service center as well, situation center as well. Before, we had a lot of operators sitting behind the monitors and monitoring the services, but now we have only few AI-powered operators which are using AI in order to monitor and evaluate our operators and service processes. And recently, we opened our public data portal to the public, to the researchers, to startups, and to other government organizations in order to use our data and innovate or to do research and etc. They can get access to machine-readable data as well. It's very useful platform for startups and for business, we think. Besides from that, we have in back office, we have special data portal, data like lake, where we gather all data about services, about citizens, about the processes. And then we apply special machine learning and AI tool in order to analyze the data and to give insights for the decision makers in different areas in order to simplify and to reduce the decision-making time for decision makers. And it's like one of the sentiment analysis tool we apply to our ASAN Visa platform in order to get insights from the comments of the foreigners. And we are very happy that we are not recognized internally, and our the satisfaction level of our citizens, as I said, is very high. But we have many international corporations as well. We have MOUs with more than 30 governments worldwide, and we share experiences, and we help some countries to build ASAN-like concepts in their countries as well. In 4 countries, we worked very closely and with the collaboration, Asan-like concept applied in that countries as well. It's Afghanistan. Before Taliban, we built for them this concept, and the name almost the same, Asan Khidmat in their language and Asan Khidmat in our. Asan in our language means easy services. In Indonesia, they have more than 200 service centers, which all operates based on our concept. Even in entrance, they have special board written that this concept based on Asan service concept. In Uzbekistan, starting from 2019, we are working very closely with our brother country, and we are innovating together in public service delivery field. And in Uganda, in 2023, we opened, we helped them to open their Asan-like service center in their country. And now we are working very closely with Ethiopia, and it's about to finish, and there will be opening ceremony of their service center as well. And we got 2 awards from United Nations, one for physical services, other one for digital services in 2015 and 2019. In 2023, we got award, Best Service Award of the World from World Government Summit, Dubai, among 83 countries. Also, last but not least, last year during the COP conference in Azerbaijan, we signed an agreement with United Nations about building trust fund in order to support countries who wants to apply Asan-like concepts in their countries and wants to improve their service delivery processes. And with this agreement, we will promote Asan concept in 4 continents. And we already started this year, and in coming months and days, we will have several conferences in 4 continents. I would like to stop here and to give floor to others and the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I was just looking at the slides, and actually I had very warm memories, and I would like to share the story with you because you might find it interesting. Indeed, in 2018, the government established the Agency for Public Services in Uzbekistan. I remember the call, I wouldn't name the person, but the person was saying, can you arrange for us trips for 2 countries, because we already are going to Azerbaijan and Russia, and other 2 that I helped to arrange was Georgia and Kazakhstan, to see the one-stop shops and then basically replicate here. I would like to say how phenomenal was the Ministry of Justice. If we just count 5 years to establish one-stop shops of a very similar quality that they've observed at that time in Kazakhstan, in Azerbaijan, in Georgia. I'm not sure how it's in Russia, but I'm sure that in these 3 countries, they were equally good. And there was one particular example from Azerbaijan. In Uzbekistan, we had very long history, people sitting here know, to fight for passports to be issued in one-stop shops. We've been told every time it should be 2 weeks minimum and done only by the Ministry of the Interior. In Azerbaijan, your president, overnight, came up with a solution, placing people in uniform, police people, in Asan Khizmat. I've seen myself, and they would be issuing and printing passport in Asan Khizmat. So we used example of Asan Khizmat printing on spot passports to argue that passports can be issued quicker. The fast-moving history. In Uzbekistan now you can get ID in 10 minutes. I did myself in a one-stop shop, and passports can be done in 1 day, so very fast. First of all, saying this, thanks to Ministry of Justice, I think they merit a round of applause for this big reform. But also thanks for all partners like Azerbaijan who was sharing good experiences with us when we needed this the most. It was a great pleasure. I would like to give a floor to our next speaker, Mircea Iesanu, who is a director of the Public Services Agency in the Republic of Moldova. And he will talk to us about digitalization of public services activities of the Public Service Agency. And Mircea is one of the leading experts in the area of digitalization of public services in his country. And he was also the one who was doing a lot of innovation, trying to streamline service provision through one-stop shop, as well as introducing composite and transactional proactive services and life cycle, I assume, as well, in his country. Floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for helping us stay alive till the last session. I think you really deserve for your own some round of applause. I think the excellent organization of the event, and then of course thank you our marvelous moderator Aziza. I was initially thinking to tell you about the institution that I'm representing, which is quite similar to actually what Hasan is doing. But I'll do a very short introduction of what we do and in what things that we vary. We also have, we are founded about 8 years ago. We have more than 40 multifunctional centers in all major cities in the country. We are one of the biggest public institutions in the country, but there is one small difference that I think is with other countries in the region. First of all, we are a self-financed institution, completely self-financed. We don't get, we get less than 0.5% of money from the central government or state budget. Secondly, we are the owner of the state register of population, state register of vehicle, legal entities, drivers, and the registry of civil status document. What does it mean? I mean that we are the front office and the back offices as well. We are keeping the archives of the civil status documents, for example, for 100 years. For the last 5 years, we have, one of our focus was to digitize everything that we have on paper, starting from legal entities that we register, starting from NGOs, foundations, LTDs, and so on. We are registering political parties as well in our country. It's with our institution at the registry that are doing this, this process. And of course, we are the emittent authority of the passports, IDs, residence permits, driving licenses, vehicle passports, car plates, everything. All the services that we can do in terms of documents, we are able to do it in 4 hours across the country. In most of cases, it's 1 day. In Chisinau City, it's 1 day. We do it according to all ICAO criteria, and the new ID that we are issuing, together with electronic signature, qualified electronic signature, we can do it. We are doing currently for free, completely, for all the citizens in our country, including with a reader that would help them stick in the computer if they don't have sort of smartphone. But I was thinking and looking at the indicators that we were using. We were looking through either UN, either World Bank in terms of digital readiness of the country. So, except Estonia here, who is definitely far in front and one of the leaders that set the trend, we are all the countries here, including Azerbaijan, including Uzbekistan, Georgia, Ukraine is a little bit further according to the indicators. But we have a constant increase of a steady, constant increase on these indicators for the last 5 years. And I was just thinking what we have in common, and what was a little bit weird of what I was hearing all these days about. I was sort of having a feeling that we're on a sort of session of a group of self-support. You know, like, hi, I'm John, and I'm alcoholic, yes, I'm not drinking. So we all have most of those stuff done and put in place because we took 6, 7, or 8, or even 9 years ago, the same strategic principle. And it's only one of the, they set it the trend. Digital by default. Ask for if all the public institutions, if they have the registry, pour in an interoperable system. I can guarantee if we would have met 10 or 15 years ago, we were speaking different vocabulary. Currently, we're in a room when everybody understands exactly and almost can anticipate what I will be saying about the institution that I'm leading. So what I'm trying to say is that for us as an institutions, it's clear what where we'll get in 5 years from now. We'll get at the same 0.98 indicator of digital readiness. That's a clear path, because everybody's got an industry, in IT in Moldova, by the way. For the last 5 years, we've got, we are a 2.5 population. We already have the IT sector is representing 1.2 billion of the GDP. That I think it's about a third of what's now in Estonia or something like this. I think, or you're a little bit. No, you have the unicorn.
Yes.
You have the unicorns. We all have interoperable systems. Now we started in 19 when we deployed with the 18 million interrogations. Now this year we get to 1 billion according to our estimations. So we all have digital signatures we're issuing for our citizens. We all have wallets for our IDs. We all have portals for our citizens. So we follow the same strategy. What differs amongst us is basically tactically how we have applied and developed, which institutions were responsible, who are the policy maker, who are the drivers, and so on. And that is modern. So I think I might change a little bit the subject of this panel, but what's next? Okay, we get there. We broke the silos of each ministry doing their own and protecting their own registry. So I think, and we're getting ready as a country to do that, and I'm very proud, and I would like to share specifically this element. The lead role in this whole process, I think it's European Union that is breaking the second breaking of silos, because the public services would go cross-border. That's the next phase, where all countries with a big diaspora, in our case it's 1 million abroad, so you have to maintain a contact with your own citizens. We as an institution get birth certificates of Moldovan born in Denmark, in Estonia, in the United States, in Spain, and in Greece. So we're consuming already this kind of data, and we should be ready in doing that. So what we're currently doing is we're making sure that all our data marts that we're already exposing publicly, including to the business in the country, we're making sure that we are ready for what's coming at the European level. We're in full throttle negotiation process with the European Union, and you have adopted in the last 3 or 4 years, I think, the most important policy documents that are up to come. This is the Digital Service Act, this is interoperable Europe. We're not speaking of now national interoperability system, it's European level, connecting more than 500 million citizens. So I think, and it's quite a quarrel inside this kind of discussion. But some of those registries are, and the semantic catalogs, they are already standardized. So we already can apply. So that would be the first thing, I think, as an institution we focus. Do we apply this kind of shared global standardization of the data that we can share? By the way, it's already happening with the travel credentials, right? With the passports. It's coming. Travel passport, although we have the ICAO, there are tested, I think Canada and Denmark, or Amsterdam and Netherlands are testing already electronic travel credentials. The same that we have in our wallet with our national IDs. I think that should be the main focus for our institution, not to get stuck in our own silo. I think the next discussion would also be whom you trust your data, because they're going cross-border, and which kind of digital identities issued national-wise are recognized internationally. So thank you. I think I'll stop here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your fantastic presentation. And I have to say, while we would think that everyone is the same, when I was working in Singapore, we've done actually at that time review of one-stop shops and e-gov strategies. And I think our region is one of the most disciplined and kind of focused because we also had very much top-down approach. In many countries, even in US, they're still not able to make not even interoperable systems, not even within one state there is one unified catalog for anything. Everything is so fragmented because it's different culture as well. So in a way, kind of curse and blessing in one, the post-Soviet systems are prone to be excellent in public service delivery because there is already a very strong vertical and more architectural type of systems naturally in place. But thank you so much. Next speaker is from Estonia, and I have to say, I think in this country we've been fascinated for a long time with Estonian X-Road, with Estonian Tiger Jump school program that introduced in mid-90s programming classes that supposedly led to Skype invention. And since Skype invention, there were also, I think, 5 by now unicorns in Estonia. Huh? 11 already. Oh, 11. Okay, so the last time I checked, it was 5. Now it's very impressive for a small nation that used to be in the same country as us. 11 unicorns is just a breaking record. So congratulations. And Helena Lepp is working as a director for service transformation at Digital Nation. And she will be talking to us about building trust, impact, and equity in public services. Floor is yours, Helena.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it works. Thank you for having me. It's my first time in Uzbekistan, and I'm already blown away by the hospitality level you have here. That's really great. Yes, as of my background, now I work in private sector, advising governments worldwide on digital service and digital government, but in my previous years, I used to work in Estonian government where I was working on digital services. And I'm not going to do a presentation of the history of Estonian digital government, but really focus on one segment, one part of it, which is the provision of proactive services. And before I go to my slides, I start actually with the definition, because most of you here have some sort of legal background, and I know that lawyers love definitions. So let's define first what is a proactive service. So proactive services are really services that are offered to citizen businesses on the initiative of the government, and this provision of services is based on the presumed will of people and based on the data that is on the databases, on the government databases. And when we started with that, with the concept in Estonia, what happened was that the biggest challenge wasn't about technology, having the data there. As you mentioned, interoperability, technical interoperability is something that is very good in our countries. And also it wasn't a question of will or understanding whether proactive services would help to deliver better services, more impactful services to citizens. The question was on the notion of presumed will. The same thing you mentioned, you asked as a question, that, traditionally you have to have the consent of the person to provide them a service, or the person in Estonian law said you have to express your will to add the service. And that's very normal in the case of physical service provision, because you have to show up to add a service. When we have digital services, well, you don't necessarily need to show up, but then how can we say that this person wants a service I want to provide? So that's how we aim up with a legal term for presumed will. In some cases, we say we can presume that the person wants a service. And very often it comes, for example, with benefits. Governments are very proactive when they want you to fulfill your obligations. If you need to pay a fine, they are very proactive. If you need to pay taxes, they are very proactive. If there's a benefit, they are not so proactive. So these are mostly the cases where we say there's a presumed will to provide the service or to add the service. So, Anna, add it later, please. Yes, sorry. No worries. So let's move to the proactive services and why I think the proactive services are actually a prime example of user centricity or citizen centricity, human centricity, however you want to say it. The word user centricity is something we hear a lot. It's a bit of a buzzword. Everything is saying it, but what does it mean? The traditional, once again, definition says, well, placing the person in the center of the service provision, delivering and designing services based on people's needs, preferences, expectations. But that doesn't say much once again. It's quite large. So for me, for myself, I've defined it through 4 pillars. First of all, accessibility. A user-centric service is accessible. And proactive services here, well, they basically make it automatically accessible to everyone. You're not dependent anymore on action. So, and also for the virtual accessibility, when we talk about visual impairment or things like that, it also helps people with special needs to add the service. Then usability. That's really how we make service process seamless and as simple as possible. Here again, we add most of the process to add the service. Then personalization. We see, and also with private sector services, personalization is something that is trending. We want more and more personalized services. I mean, Netflix, you want to have the suggestions. You're happy to see the similar, you like rhyme, it's great to add new rhyme series. So the same thing with personalization here in public services. And once again, proactive services, as they're based on your personal data, are also more personalized. And last but not least, one of the cornerstones for digital governments and for digital services success is being trustworthy. So here, this is something that is also very critical for proactive services. How we make sure that the service provision is transparent, how we be sure that it complies with data protection rules, it's secure, and how we make sure that people actually control how the data is used. On the other end, for proactive services, when we take the trustworthiness, I'm back to the fact that governments are very proactive when they want to punish you or make you fulfill an obligation. Let's come back here to the benefits. It helps to increase my trust towards the government when they offer me something from which I can benefit. I feel like, oh, wow, you actually did something great for me. I will go further with one example. In Estonia, we pretty much distinguish 4 levels for proactive services, but of course, I mean, there are different classifications there. I like to use this one. And first one is the notification services. These are really very simple type of services to use, and these really help to gain trust with your citizens. Notification services are used in many countries. I believe in Singapore, Korea, Denmark also use notification services. So basically what it means, my passport is about to expire. And instead of finding out that my passport is expired when I'm at the airport, they send me a heads up like 3 months earlier or half a year earlier saying, be aware, your passport is about to expire, go and change it. Same with taxes, like you haven't submitted your tax declaration. Please do it. Otherwise, we need to punish you. But you do it before you owe to the penalization. Then our services we all with option to opt out. It means I make you an offer. I make you, for example, in Estonia, we use this for family benefits. When a child is born, you add a different benefits from government, and they send to both parents an offer that, hey, you have a right to add these services. If you want them, you accept. If you don't want and want to leave to the other parent, say it here. Oops, sorry. So these are really like the opt-out version. You have still control. You can say, no, thank you. Then there are fully automated services. These are services where both the back end and front end are basically completely automated. No human interaction whatsoever. You will just add, for example, a benefit. I will give you an example here as well. And last is the, we say, like predictive or anticipatory services. These are the services where the potential breach to privacy and services that are most sensitive, I think, is here. At the same time, possibly also the services we will see in the future in the rise with the AI, in like medical sphere, in social sphere, and so on, so on. But these services, I believe, when the three other and be fairly simple, then the last section is definitely something where you have to consider well what kind of data you use, how you use the data, and make sure that you don't really breach the privacy of your citizens. And I just want to finish with a concrete example we have in Estonia that shows how you can provide an extremely simple service to one of the most vulnerable group of people. And those are the elderly living alone. So in Estonia, elderly people who at a certain amount of, I think it's like less than 1.2 average pensions, and they live alone, they have the highest risk of poverty in Estonia. So for that, once a year, these people add a special allowance. It used to be really an application-based. You had to, the pensioner had to show up somewhere, had to go online, or had to show up to the Social Security office. But considering that these people are also most potentially the least digital literate, or most touched by digital divide, what we did was that we actually needed just check two databases. What is the sum of their pension, and do they live alone from population registry? Very simple. You automate two controls once a year. The answer is yes or no. And the people who is yes, they will add the allowance. No, it's no. And it's 100% of the people who are eligible for the service, for the benefit, will add it. So I find this a good example where you don't need to employ AI or very difficult processes. The process is very straightforward, and the impact at the same time is very big. You help the most vulnerable people with digital solution or with digital service. And I will stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We have the last two speakers in our panel, and both are very good because they represent one of the most advanced progressive thinking institutions. The first one is Olamjon Umarov, who is a first Deputy Minister of Digital Technologies of the Republic of Uzbekistan, and he will be followed by the Head of Department on Public Services in the Ministry of Justice. But I think that both institutions are doing tremendous things for the country. Citizens see it every day because we benefit from online services, from offline services. We benefit from a lot of innovation being integrated in the system. And with a great privilege and pride, I would like to give a floor to Olamjon Umarov that I happen to observe for the last 15 years. And the person who will be speaking, in my view, has very, very rare system thinking. He's able to see the complexity. He's able to see the entire system and how small parts can be integrated together. I remember some time ago we've introduced data govus, regulation govus. Both are still alive around. A lot of my govus innovation was also done with the help of Olimjon Umarov, and he keep introducing innovation in different parts of eGov system in different posts. So he was out of the ministry and then back, he was in the cabinet of ministers and then back. So consistently doing reform in this very important area. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Aziz Farhadovna, distinguished guest. First of all, thank you for our partners from Ministry of Justice for invitation for the session and be here. It's a big honor for me. Let me continue my presentation in Russian language to save our time. And I would like to show what we have done, what we do, and what we will do in the near future. Уважаемые коллеги, позвольте представить вам презентацию о достижениях в области цифровой трансформации Узбекистана. И первым слайдом, который я бы хотел показать, сейчас мы найдем направление, куда нужно. Can you please, next slide, please? It's not working. Окей. Нет, да, вот этот слайд, спасибо. Процесс цифровой трансформации в Узбекистане и в целом реализация всех цифровых проектов основывается на двух главных документах, принятых нашим правительством. Первый важный документ – это стратегия Узбекистан 2030, которая включает в себя 100 главных целей развития Узбекистана до 2030 года в 5 ключевых направлениях, условно разделенные эти 100 целей, включая повышение человеческой жизни и жизни людей, улучшение экономических условий, защита окружающей среды, административная реформа, а также обеспечение мира и безопасности в стране. Все эти цели так или иначе пересекаются с вопросами цифровизации и внедрения цифровых технологий, потому что все мы понимаем, что без активного и широкого применения цифровых технологий невозможно будет достичь поставленных этих наших национальных целей. И для того, чтобы синхронизировать процессы цифровизации, эти национальные цели были, следующим документом стало принятие цифровой стратегии Узбекистана до 2030 года, которая очень гармонично синхронизируется с национальной стратегией Узбекистан 2030. Если говорить о ключевых направлениях стратегии цифрового Узбекистана, то она подразумевает развитие, в первую очередь, цифровой инфраструктуры как неотъемлемой частью любого процесса цифровизации. Это улучшение IT-индустрии в республике, повышение качества IT-услуг на рынке, создание новых компаний, поддержка стартапов. Третий блок – это автоматизация и цифровизация системы государственного управления. Ну и, конечно же, четвертый – это повышение цифровых навыков, компьютерной грамотности среди населения и пользователей. На следующем слайде я бы хотел показать нашу фронтовую часть всего системы электронного правительства. Это единый портал государственных услуг. Он является единой точкой доступа для всех сервисов, которыми пользуются как население, так и субъекты предпринимательства. На сегодняшний день на этом портале доступно более 750 различных сервисов. Портал был запущен в 2013 году. Я могу сказать, что первая его версия была, это просто был информационный портал, где была собрана контактная информация о руководителях министерств, ведомств и одна форма подачи обращений граждан в виде жалоб или предложений, заявлений. И к чему я это говорю? К тому, что вроде бы с точки зрения цифровых технологий реализовать такой сайт, через который люди могут подать те или иные обращения, достаточно несложно и не требует больших усилий, и даже 10 лет назад. Но самое сложное, что было сделать, это мобилизовать ресурсы государственных органов, чтобы они принимали эти обращения, чтобы они их качественно обрабатывали, чтобы вовремя отвечали на те запросы, которые подаются со стороны бизнеса и населения. И, конечно же, в этом контексте большую роль сыграла именно реформа, которую совместно с Министерством юстиции, с другими министерствами, ведомствами мы проводили для того, чтобы у людей вырастало доверие к электронным сервисам и к тем цифровым преобразованиям, которые происходят в стране. Если остановиться на цифрах, то на сегодняшний день на этом едином портале доступно более 750 услуг, более 150 информационных систем государственных органов интегрированы, более 11 миллионов пользователей, это треть населения республики и половина активного населения страны. Что мы еще дополнительно сделали за последние 2 года, это создали возможность предоставлять электронные государственные услуги в иных информационных экосистемах и платформах, в частности в банковских платформах, платформах страховых компаний, телеком-операторов. Это позволяет и развивать банковскую экосистему, интегрируя государственные услуги в одном платформе. А для нас это позволяет расширить каналы доступа государственных сервисов для населения, создавая таким образом многоканальные возможности получения тех или иных данных или услуг. И для того, чтобы стимулировать людей на получение электронных государственных услуг, на все государственные пошлины, которые предусмотрены, мы сделали 10% скидку. Это если человек идет в офлайн получать услугу, то он платит, например, $1, то в онлайн-сервисе это будет стоить 90 центов. Таким образом, это позволило увеличить количество и пользователей, и, соответственно, количество различных услуг на этом портале. Ну, портал – это только фронтовая часть, которая видна только людям, но за ней находится огромная работа, связанная с обеспечением интеграции информационных систем между собой, обеспечением электронного обмена данными между различными министерствами и ведомствами. И здесь были реализованы 2 больших проекта. Это единая интеграционная шина, шлюз, которая на сегодняшний день объединяет более 150 разрозненных информационных систем в единую платформу, позволяя электронный обмен осуществлять данными между министерствами и ведомствами и таким образом реализовывая принцип, который был ключевым провозглашен в рамках нашей административной реформы государственных услуг. Этот принцип в том, что не люди должны ходить между кабинетами различных офисов, министерств и государственных органов, а данные должны обмениваться сами между ведомствами и между государственными служащими. Вот. А вторая платформа, которую мы запустили буквально в прошлом году, это платформа цифровых данных, которая позволяет частным организациям, коммерческим структурам, банкам, страховым компаниям подключаться к данным государственных систем, получать различные данные из электронного правительства и таким образом автоматизируя свои как бизнес-процессы или свои услуги. К примеру, для того, чтобы улучшить скоринг при выдаче кредитов банку, он через эту платформу запрашивает дополнительную информацию по заявителю и таким образом улучшая скоринговую модель и оценку кредитоспособности того или иного клиента. В свое время, когда мы начали внедрение электронных государственных услуг, в этом направлении у нас лидерами были агентства по налогам, это был таможенный комитет, это была статистика и иные министерства, ведомства. И была большая проблема, что все эти различные организации использовали собственные системы идентификации, и таким образом у человека были случаи, когда, например, у него на руках было несколько ключей доступа в различные системы, вот, что создавало достаточно много сложностей и с точки зрения для юзеров, пользователей, так и с точки зрения безопасности. Поэтому было принято решение создания единой системы идентификации. Это система, которая на сегодняшний день более 600 информационных систем подключены, более 13,5 миллионов пользователей. Через эту единую систему идентификации человек может получить доступ ко всем информационным платформам, сервисам, ресурсам, услугам различных государственных органов, что создает ему возможность одним ключом пользоваться различными платформами и технологиями. И вот буквально 2 года назад в рамках развития этой платформы мы запустили элементы биометрической идентификации. Сейчас у нас можно получить различные микрозаймы, оформить кредиты, прописать человека в своем объекте недвижимости, переоформить недвижимость. Все делая удаленно с использованием биометрической идентификации, что намного легче, чем использовать электронно-цифровую подпись. И в этом плане конечно, позволило нам расширить спектр различных услуг и более лучше их автоматизировать. На этом слайде я бы хотел вам показать 2 больших системы, которые разработаны в рамках нашей системы, в рамках электронного правительства. Это система уведомления, вроде бы небольшая система, но она очень удобная для людей, позволяя получать различные уведомления о тех или иных данных, которые нужно совершить в рамках взаимодействия с государственными структурами. Это уведомления о штрафах, это при выходе на различные пенсии, получении каких-то государственных услуг. То есть если раньше это шло через почту, то с внедрением этой системы это позволило более лучше, качественней предоставлять уведомительные услуги. И вторая большая система – это единая биллинговая платформа. У нас много услуги есть, которые нужно платить, государственные пошлины предусматриваются. И мы сделали единую биллинговую платформу, позволяющую всем государственным органам через нее получать те или иные платежи в очень удобном онлайн прозрачном форме. Например, на сегодняшний день все нотариальные действия оплачиваются можно онлайн, или не нужно ходить для этого в банковские кассы, банковские офисы, стоять в очередях. Все это можно онлайн через платежные системы делать, и эта вот система это позволила реализовать. Конечно, для того, чтобы сделать все эти системы, чтобы их полностью запустить, нужна качественная, мощная и защищенная инфраструктура, и в этом плане был создан единый государственный дата-центр. Это так называемая база для всех информационных систем, и что позволило нам улучшить безопасность обмена данными, но и в то же время сократить бюджетные расходы, потому что все государственные органы должны размещать свои информационные системы, все свое железо только на этой площадке, таким образом сокращая различные капекс расхода. Ну и в целом те достижения, те работы, которые мы проводим в области электронных государственных услуг совместно с нашими коллегами, позволили нам за последние 2 рейтинга подняться на 24 позиции, с 87 на 63 место в рейтинге электронного правительства. Наша цель, согласно стратегии, в 2030 году войти в топ-30 стран по электронному правительству. И в этом контексте, конечно же, многие, наверное, согласятся со мной, что не только цифровизация является ключом для достижения этих целей, а, наверное, здесь принцип 20 на 80. 20% успеха – это IT-часть, а 80% – это именно административная реформа, это улучшение системы государственного управления, взаимодействия и государственных услуг, и реинжиниринга тех или иных процессов. Поэтому в этом контексте мы очень тесно работаем с Министерством юстиции, и буквально в Самарканде в июне 23-25 числа будет проходить впервые в Центральной Азии большое международное мероприятие под эгидой ЮНДЕСа. Азиз Фархадовна подробно еще скажет об этом, где будут обсуждаться именно вопросы государственного управления и что нужно сделать для достижения тех целей устойчивого развития, которые установлены в 2030 году в контексте именно совершенствования госуправления и административной реформы. Поэтому всех коллег приглашаем, будем рады видеть в Самарканде в июне месяце, буквально через 3 недели, можно сказать. Поэтому у кого будет еще возможность, пожалуйста, будем ждать. Спасибо большое на это.
Огромное спасибо за прекрасную презентацию. Это только малая часть работы, которую делает министерство. Я хотела бы буквально использовать эту возможность на английском, чтобы даже наши иностранные тоже коллеги поняли. It's just a small part of what ministry is doing, because what I think ministry was also driving the way was we've got enormous boost in digital workforce in the last 2-3 years. We've got a lot of young people who are qualified now in data analytics. There's a lot of junior engineers who became the mid, and some of them are becoming the lead. We are getting upskilling of a lot of people who are, in a way, enablers of any digitalization. And I have to say that Minister himself is very visionary, because in a lot of areas, they were able to see kind of 2 steps ahead what would be coming, and in a way kind of, putting this as part of different reform programs. So I have to say that seeing today what ministry is doing and reporting to us is great. But I'm also happy to see how it was acknowledging the role of Ministry of Justice in this. And now we would like to smoothly move to the last speaker, and it's a host, and a host always speaks the last. The Ministry of Justice, the head of Department of Public Services, will talk to us about citizens-oriented public services in Uzbekistan. Eldor Mahkamov.
Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli hamkasblar, hurmatli mehmonlar. Mana moderator aytib o'tganlaridek, mana ham o'sha forum tashkilotchisi vakili sifatida ham mana mendan oldin 12 ta taqdimotlar bo'ldi, bir-biridan ajoyib, sermazmun, o'ziga xos. O'shalardan xulosa chiqargan holda, demak, ma'ruzamni taqdimotimni bilan o'rtoqlashmoqchiman. Avvalambor boya vengriyalik hamkasbimiz aytib o'tdi, bugungi kunda bu davlat xizmati bu o'sha fuqaro bilan davlat o'rtasidagi o'ziga xos ko'prik. Chunki o'sha fuqaro davlat xizmatiga kelib, o'sha qulay, oson, shaffof xizmatni olsa, bu uni ertaga o'sha davlatga bo'lgan ishonch mustahkamlanadi. Agarda aksincha bo'lsa, bu demak aksincha reaksiya beradi, o'z-o'zidan fuqarolarimiz noroziligiga olib keladi. Endi temamizning mavzusi ham mana fuqaroga yo'naltirilgan davlat xizmatlari. Bugun muhtaram prezidentimizni mana shu forum ishtirokchilariga yo'llagan tabriklarda ham davlat xizmatlari masalasiga alohida to'xtalib o'tildilar. Bu bizda o'sha hozirda mamlakatimizda shu yo'nalishda amalga oshirilgan strategik yo'nalishlarni belgilab berganlar. Birinchi navbatda o'sha davlat xizmatlarini raqamlashtirish, avtomatlashtirish hamda ochiq, shaffof xizmatlarni ko'rsatgan holda, demak, xizmat ko'rsatuvchi davlat tamoyilini hayotga tatbiq etish. Mana shu masalada ham bugun prezidentimiz to'xtalib o'tdilar. Yana bir bor aytmoqchimanki, hozirgi jarayonlarda butun dunyoda shu tendensiya desam ham bo'ladi. Davlat xizmatlari markazida, o'sha diqqat markazi e'tiborida bu fuqaro markazida fuqaro turibdi. Demak, citizen centric service. Shundan kelib chiqib, demak, hozir yangi g'oyalar chiqmasligi mumkin, lekin har doim bizda davlat xizmatlarini takomillashtirish uchun sabab bor. Bu misol uchun inson omilini minimallashtirish bo'lishi mumkin, yoki bo'lmasa qandaydir byurokratik jarayonlarni qisqartirish bo'lishi mumkin, yoki bo'lmasa foydalanuvchilarni xarajatlari, vaqtlarini tejash mumkin, yoki bo'lmasa mana shu poli davlat xizmatlarini ko'rsatishdagi ma'muriy tartib taomillarni shaffof va yanada ochiq ko'rsatishni demak yo'lga qo'yish mumkin. Endi hozir ko'p vaqt qisqaligi, ko'p raqamlarga to'xtalmayman, asosiy masalalarni aytib o'taman. Mana 2017-yilda bizda Adliya vazirligi tizimiga o'tkazilgan davlat xizmatlari, ungacha demak ular faqat tadbirkorlik subyektlariga 37 ta turdagi xizmatlarni ko'rsatgan. Bugungi kunga kelib, mana oxirgi 3 yildagi biz tendensiyani ham ko'rsatib o'tganmiz. 442 taga, mana 2024-yil yakunida 409 ta bo'lgan bo'lsa, bu yil hisobida mana 442 taga yetdi. Hamda foydalanuvchilar soni ham yildan yilga oshib boryapti. Bu yerda davlat xizmatlari markazi orqali hamda o'sha MyGov.uz portali orqali ko'rsatilgan xizmatlarni ko'rsatganmiz. Buni sal oldinga o'tib aytishim mumkin. Bizda mana rejamiz bor. Bu yil hisobida mana 2025, 26, 27. Aytishimiz kerakki, bugungi kunda bizda davlat xizmatlari reyestrimizda 1002 ta demak davlat xizmati turibdi. Mana 750 dan ortig'i MyGov.uz portali orqali ko'rsatiladigan bo'lsa, bizda 442 tasi mana davlat xizmatlari markazi. Buni biz reja qilganmiz. 600 taga bu yilda o'zida yetkazish va keyingi yilda 800 ta va 1000 tadan oshirish. Hozirda ayrim o'sha davlat xizmatlari, bizda o'sha 400 ga yaqin davlat xizmatlarimiz, ayrimlari bir vazirlik idoralarida o'zlarini axborot tizimlarida ko'rsatilyapti, yoki bo'lmasa 180 ga yaqin xizmatimiz hali an'anaviy tarzda ko'rsatilmoqda va bularning hammasini biz Bularning hammasini biz demak davlat xizmatlari markazlari orqali ko'rsatishni niyat qilganmiz. Endi boya proaktiv hamda kompozit xizmatlarga to'xtalib o'tildi. Mana estoniyalik hamkasb ham proaktiv xizmatlarga alohida to'xtaldi. Bizda ham hozir eng birlamchi yo'nalish sifatida shu proaktiv kompozit xizmatlarni ko'paytirish tendensiyasi ketyapti. Misol uchun yaqinda mana 1-martdan boshlab bizda yoshga doir pensiyaga chiqishni proaktiv ko'rinishga o'tkazdik. Hozirda mana tahlil qilsak, har bir oyda o'rtacha 8600 nafar fuqaroga yoshga doir pensiyaga chiqarish proaktiv shaklda ko'rsatilyapti. Bu degani ushbu fuqarolarning bir oyda o'rtacha 430 million so'm demak mablag'lari tejalyapti. Yoki bo'lmasa yo'q qaytmayapti-da boshiga. Mana 50 dan ortiq xizmat kompozit shaklda ko'rsatyapmiz. Biz oddiy qilib tushuntiradigan bo'lsa, mana tug'ilganlikni qayd etish bilan bog'liq xizmat. Bir yilda bizda 900 mingdan oshiq tug'ilish bo'lyapti. Shunda o'sha tibbiyot muassasasining o'zidan turib, demak 5 ta xizmat kompozit ko'rsatilyapti bizda. Tug'ilganlikni qayd etish, shuning puli berish, bog'chaga navbatga qo'yish hamda o'sha doimiy ro'yxat hamda poliklinikaga hisobga qo'yish bo'yicha va bu ham fuqarolarimiz mana 22,5 milliard so'm mablag'i har yili o'rtacha demak tejalyapti. Shuni ham aytib o'tishimiz kerak. Bizda o'sha konstitutsiyamizga ijtimoiy davlat konsepsiyasini amalga oshirish maqsadida 117 ta xizmatlarimiz fuqarolarga bepul ko'rsatilmoqda bugungi kunda. Avtomatlashtirish bo'yicha mana bu hamkasbimiz Helena gapirib o'tdilar. Hozirda bizda 15 ta turdagi xizmatlar avtomat shaklda ko'rsatilyapti. Bu real vaqt rejimida. Misol uchun o'tgan yilda raqamni oladigan bo'lsak, fuqarolarimiz 7,7 million nafar fuqarolar demak o'zini arizasiga avtomat shaklda real vaqt rejimida javoblarni oldi. Shu bilan birga bizda mana 208 ta tuman shaharlarimizda davlat xizmatlari markazlari mavjud bo'lsa, uzoq o'sha olis hududlarda joylashgan joylarda ham, mahallalarda ham filiallarimiz mavjud, 138 ga yaqin. Shu bilan birgalikda biz o'sha joylarga, mahallalarga hozirda 24/7 rejimda ishlaydigan infokioskalarni joylashtirganmiz va mana o'tgan yilda bu hozir 64 turdagi demak o'sha bepul bo'lgan xizmatlar ko'rsatilyapti bu infokiosklar orqali hamda o'tgan yil 373 mingdan ortiq xizmatlar mana shu infokiosklar orqali ko'rsatildi. Buni ham bir oldinga o'tib aytishim mumkin. 1100 ta infokioska bilan biz yaqin orada rejamiz mahallalar ta'minlash hamda bundan foydalanuvchilar sonini o'sha 1,5 milliontaga yetkazish bo'yicha demak oldimizga rejalarni qo'yganmiz. Davlat xizmatlari ko'rsatishni vaqtini qisqartirish bo'yicha ham biz ish olib boryapmiz. Bu nimani hisobiga bo'lyapti? Mana yildan yilga davlat xizmatlari soni oshib boryapti, lekin biz o'sha shtatda ishlab kelyapmiz. Lekin mana raqamlashtirish hamda tashkilotlarda o'zaro axborot tizimlarini integratsiya qilish, shu bilan birga xodimlarda samaradorlik ko'rsatkichlarni belgilangan holda biz demak xizmat ko'rsatish vaqtlarini ham tushiryapmiz. Mana bugungi kunda 15-20 daqiqadan 5-8 daqiqaga o'rtacha tushdi. Ya'ni bu degani fuqarolarimiz navbat kutish vaqti ham o'rtacha 15 daqiqaga qisqardi. Litsenziyalarni va ruxsatnomalarni bekor qilish bilan bog'liq faoliyatimiz mana 160 turdagi litsenziya ruxsatnomalar bekor qilindi va bunda ham har yili aholini mana 2 milliarddan oshiq mablag'lari tejab kelinmoqda. O'tgan yildan boshlab biz demak pochta orqali xizmat natijalarini yetkazib berishni yo'lga qo'ydik. Bu endi fuqarolarimiz ko'nikib boryapti. Mana bir yilda 13 mingdan oshiq bunday xizmatdan demak fuqarolarimiz foydalandi. Yana bir hozir rejalashtirganlarimizdan biri bu demak fuqarolarimizni o'sha MyGov'dagi shaxsiy kabinetlarda o'zini shaxsi bilan bog'liq bo'lgan demak ma'lumotlarni olish, shaxsiy kabinetga joylashtirish orqali hozirda har bitta ma'lumotnomani olish uchun ular alohida o'sha ariza jo'natib, alohida ayrimlarga pul to'lab, demak o'ziga tegishli bo'lgan ma'lumotlarni olib kelishmoqda. Buni ham biz hozirgi rejamizda o'sha o'zini shaxsiy kabinetiga joylashtirgan holda bepul o'ziga tegishli ma'lumotni olish bo'yicha demak rejalashtirganmiz. yana bir o'zi islohotlarimiz boshida ikki bosqichga bo'lgan edik. O'sha davlat xizmatlari birinchi navbatda o'sha moddiy texnik bazasini mustahkamlash, ya'ni o'sha fuqarolar uchun qulay sharoitlar yaratish hamda xodimlar uchun, va ikkinchisida o'zi o'sha xizmatlarni raqamlashtirishga ko'proq e'tibor berish. Mana hozirda bizda 80 dan oshiq davlat xizmatini demak 3 qadam tamoyil asosida soddalashtirish vazifasi turibdi. Bu ham demak o'sha ayrimlari bor. Misol uchun mana yashash joyiga vaqtinchalik ro'yxatga qo'yish uchun bizda 19 ta turdagi ma'lumotlar, hujjatlar so'radi. Hozir agar kirib o'sha elektron to'ldiradigan bo'lsangiz, buni ham biz 3 qadam tamoyil asosida demak qisqartirish choralarini ko'ramiz. Umuman agar shu rejani amalga oshiradigan bo'lsak, bizda o'sha ma'lumotlarimiz 41% ga qisqarib, o'sha xizmat ko'rsatish vaqti ham mana shu yo'nalishlarda 6 daqiqagacha tushadi. Sun'iy intellekt bo'yicha ham boya Qozog'istonlik hamkasblarimiz aytib o'tildi. Biz ham birlamchi demak birinchi bosqichda buni axborot hamda maslahat xizmatlariga qo'yishni o'sha call centerga demak tatbiq etishni rejalashtirganmiz. Bu borada ham demak hozir mana chatbotlar yaratildi hamda adliya mobil ilovasida platformasida demak fuqarolarga o'sha davlat xizmatlari sohasidagi savollariga sodda va lo'nda javob beradigan tizim yaratildi. Qisqacha shu, endi ko'p masalalar aytib o'tildi. Savollar bo'lsa, marhamat.
Rahmat. I will try to summarize the last presentation because I think it was really important that Ministry of Justice was able to present how many wonderful things that we're doing. But in this country, if you give a birth, so basically proactively, the certificate of the birth comes up because everything is proactive. Second, they made notary possible online. You don't need to come any longer for notary action. It can be done online, and in many countries it has not been able, you know, to be available. But in Uzbekistan, it's available also because of the big work done by the Ministry of Justice. Licensing is getting shorter. I mean, the time frame is getting short, and if no response from the implementing or authoritative agency, then Ministry of Justice basically has the right to also issue license or permit by default, and it made a lot of long queues shorter. It also made it, you know, everyone to be more active in responding to the request. And before, it could have been very long time to get the permits or the license. So what we were able to see is that the ministry is introducing a lot of innovation in the way it serves citizens, and it's keep doing so. And I have to say that even 5 years ago, Uzbekistan would not be able to host event like UN Public Service Forum, but we are hosting. We are hosting in June this year. Entire world is coming. Because we are in organizing committee with Alamjan and Omar, if I can maybe disclose. So basically we have countries from El Salvador to Fiji. So Bhutan, our brotherly nation, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan is coming with a big delegation as well. So the closer region, the farther parts of the world. We have Mexico confirmed, you know, we have the maximum number of ministers coming this time. We expect more than 30 ministers around the world, including your minister from Azerbaijan as well, coming to Samarkand to discuss for 3 days how we can make digitalization enabler for SDG achievement, because it's only 5 years left until 2030. We also would like to welcome, if you are interested to come and if you can, you know, self-fund, feel free to register and come to the forum, because it's going to be also a place to learn, unlearn, share practices, and think about the future, to be more future ready. We have to conclude now. I think I was asked by organizers to remind our guests that you will be taking for the dinner by buses, and I think you're supposed to be waiting for buses outside. So I'm looking at Maftunas, she's nodding. Yes, and I've been told that you will be watching Lazgi show. Lazgi is a wonderful traditional dance, and it was codified by UNESCO as part of the Intangible World Heritage List. So this is one of those rare cases when dancing tradition becomes part of the World Heritage tradition. So I advise you strongly to go there, not for plov, but for watching Lazgi and enjoying time with your colleagues. I'm also grateful to all speakers today. Thank you so much for being very inspirational, for sharing your experiences, for sharing your ideas with the audience here. And I'm also wishing everyone productive tomorrow as well, ahead of you. Thanks to the Ministry of Justice for being fantastic host. And thanks to all public servants here for doing what you do, because we are living in the time of reforms. And your contribution, sizni hissangiz juda ham katta shu protsesda. Hammangizga kattakon rahmat. Thank you so much. All the best.